sensitive. Whew.
We will resume budget committee meetings. Today's date's August 8th at 2:12. And I've lost my agenda. I think we're gonna start with Fund 0380, the jail. I guess there are.
A new copy today. And basically the Form 4B is an 18-month period, snapshot that says starting July 1 of 2022 through, projected through December 31st, 2023. So it looks at any revenues you'll bring in, any, what you're looking at for your remaining appropriations for 2022 and projected budget for 2023. So it takes all that into account. You set what you want your operating balance to be, and then it tells you what you need to raise in income, or not income taxes, I'm sorry, property taxes. So we have those, and this is, what was published was the inflated amount, which, and if you went by, those numbers at the time, that it looks like you need to cut, it was around $12 million to get to the levy, the max levy. But that was without adjusting operating balance at all, and it was also with the lower income tax rates, not rates, distributions. So, and kind of going into the next, and we'll get you a copy of these for you to review and see, and we'll also have working copies so you can see how it affects when we're going through the budget. But the next thing, I've also given you copies of the certified, or not certified, the estimated lit revenues. And as it, they estimate there's an overall increase in lit for 2023 of 12.75%. And the county's portion is increasing anywhere from 11.95 to 12.75%. Based on how it's allocated. So what I have done on your sheet is they've given you what the estimated amount was, and that's in type, and then handwritten is what the 2022 actuals were. So then you can kind of tell, what the changes are. So you have to unhook it. On that side, there's a clip. There you go. So, I don't know, that should help some. There's, if you look at, and especially so like on the first one where it has the expenditure rate, certified shares, and then the total between the two, it's almost 7.1 million. And that would be hitting the general fund. And last year, this year we're getting in 6.3. So that's a nice increase for the general fund in revenue, which is sorely needed. Now, Cheryl, you said you updated the revenues in the latest right here, in this? Okay. So, I have not done that yet, so I'll go through and I'll adjust mine to reflect that increase. But you'll also be getting more in your lit public safety, lit correctional rehab, edit, special purpose. And down here where it says jail lit, that's what we call correctional rehab. At the very bottom of the page. So if you have any questions, or?
I was just wondering about getting as much out of general fund into these accounts as we.
Well, we did go through and we advertised a little bit higher in correctional rehab and also in public safety. So we advertised for $2 million in each, which for public safety, off the top of my head, is maybe an increase of maybe $500,000. and for correctional rehab, it's an increase of $1 million. So you've got a little bit of wiggle room, so we can go through there. Now, the one thing that I caution you about on correctional rehab is there's a sunset date on that. I believe it's, I don't know if we fall under the 22 year, I think it's 22 years we fall under, might be 25. But there's a sunset date on there, and so if you're putting regular operational expenses, daily operate, that could create a problem down the road, which I don't know that it'll be any of our problems, but it's gonna be somebody's problem. Cheryl just confirmed. So,
We want to be conscious of that.
but yeah, I mean, I don't think that's something that you wanna put a future council in a predicament because
Right.
you were trying to make life easier on yourself today. So that's my only, caveat on that particular fund is, it might be better for if you have capital projects, capital expenditures. I definitely wouldn't do payroll with correctional rehab. I wouldn't do, I try to stay away from some of that. Think big picture on that one. So, and special purpose, it only has one purpose. So we did not advertise that any higher. That one purpose is paying for the jail. And then also the last thing before the end of the meeting, we need to set a next meeting, so that's kind of on the schedule, things to do. That's all that I have to bring to the table. I guess maybe one of the questions maybe we need to address, or maybe, I don't know if you want to discuss it any further, was the the property tax caps. I know that was discussed pretty heavily at the Sunshine meeting. So, I don't know if you've given any thought or come up with questions since then. I'd be happy to help you however I can. But it's a lot like target practice in the dark,
I was gonna say,
with your
not
eyes
at the
closed.
moment because I have to zero in on it, and I haven't yet.
So with these, you have any?
No, just very, obviously we had a different spread, on what was presented. And me being fairly new, I always kind of go to the experts on that. And I feel like kind of our area is to look at once we get that information, but we do have to make kind of a estimate where that's gonna be.
As I said last Tuesday, I don't have enough information. I don't think anybody has a crystal ball that's gonna say, this is exactly what you're gonna, and that goes for the DLGF as well. But I also don't have enough information to comfortably dispute them. I don't know, Cheryl, if you have a greater comfort level, but at the,
Along with speaking with the LGF a little bit, and they absolutely have inflated them. I mean, that's what they're gonna tell you. They inflated everyone's.
And are they giving any reason why or justification for it?
Well, one, they don't really have anybody certified AVs. And then, they always err on the side of caution. But, yeah,
Wow.
to that extreme,
well,
especially this year. And I think it has to do with the 5% increase in the levy. And they haven't taken into consideration, each governmental units of where they've hit. If pretty much if you've hit your tax cap, you're not gonna. And I talked to a couple other bigger counties also to see how they felt. They're their answer, one with Allen, Vanderburgh, Hamilton, theirs was absolutely, they're inflated. They said that we'll use their numbers. However, you know, if our operating balances are showing lower, they know they're gonna end with much more. I mean, that's what they're taking. They just know that they're not gonna be that much, because they've talked to their assessors and talked about what the increase was in the gross AV. So they said we may use them to prepare. However, they'll take them into consideration, but they're also considering their own, that they've inflated them quite a bit, and they know that in the end, they'll be ahead a little bit. So I know that's not a definite answer. I'm gonna look at them myself and see what percentages I come up with, after, hopefully a phone call with Department of Local Government and Finance.
You're not gonna get any more information from DLGF. I've had conversations with them too, and I will tell you that I went back and looked at gross AVs and net AVs, and in 2022, our gross AVs were up and our net AVs went down. So it makes it hard to look at gross AVs and say, oh, that's definitely gonna be an increase. The norm it is, but you don't know how it's gonna come out in buckets. Whether it's a 1% bucket, the 2% bucket, or 3%, you don't know if it's a property that went from, it was a privately held property to an exempt company or organization, that would make an impact. There's just some changes that, you know, could occur that would change which buckets they're in, so. But like I said, do I think they're high? Yes. Do I know how much? No.
Clear as
Mm-hmm.
Any further concerns or questions from the committee? All right. Now we can start in the jail, correct?
Yes.
0380. Questions from committee?
No, I'm questioning Chief.
Councilwoman Wilson?
I have a question about the care of patients, inmates. I don't know if we did address that with us prior, but, it's like I'm not sure why the 2021 and 22 budgets dropped from 400,000 to 75,000, and now they're back asking for 400,000.
Originally, it was funded out of the general fund, and then we moved it to the I think it was correctional rehab. I'll have to look at that to confirm. So we funded what we thought, when the jail opened, we thought that we may go back to about $75,000 a year for housing of inmates in other facilities. Well, now, as it turns out, they're looking at still keeping, you know, population regularly housed in other areas. So, but it's advertised in both the general fund and I think it's correctional rehab, so that you can adjust or move it however you like.
I had written down that 325,000 was spread in other areas, so it's not necessarily an increase like it looks like.
It looks like it's just advertised in 2 places. It is correctional rehab.
Just don't remember, did they say what other areas they were spread around? I don't know.
It did not.
No, I mean, that's the other fund that it's in, is correctional rehab. So it's between those 2 funds.
If we brought this down to 75, we kept 400 or whatever it is, correctional rehab, that would eliminate the duplicity of the.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you wanted, you could move the whole 400,000 over.
Yeah. About that too.
But it was kind of, before, it was kind of to leave 75 so that it was kind of like earmarked in there, and so that when if the numbers started dropping on what they were sending out, you were still able to fund that. It hadn't been shifted to somewhere else completely. But as it appears now, it's not going away anytime soon.
That's, so you want to move the whole thing, or?
What would be the consequence of moving the whole thing, Melissa?
The consequence would be, again, when that sunset date comes.
Like,
Mark that, come back to it.
I don't know.
we have,
It's almost at the very end of the book.
oh, we have, I think,
So do we want to get it out of the general fund? Is that kind of what we're looking at?
that's the point I was trying to
Yeah.
get for. If it's in, if it's 400,000 in rehab and 400,000 there, and we zero this out, there's still 400,000 in lit rehab.
Just depends on which one you want to come out of.
I mean, it's still there, it's still accessible.
Do you want to zero it in the general fund,
Yes.
and then in the correctional rehab,
But well, leave it at 400 if we do not drop it to the 325.
it's advertised at 400, and before it was 75 and 325 between the two funds. 75 in general fund, 325.
Is the community rehab, is that used for other things other than care of patients, or it's just another way of saying that?
Can be used for debt service and operations of a correctional facility. Correctional and rehabilitative facility.
So as long as they know that it's for care of patients and those kinds of things too.
It's definitely would fall under the operation of jail.
Care of patients and, let me just a clarification. Care of patients and inmates, that 400,000 can also be applied towards debt services, but only as it relates to care of patients and inmates?
Debt services for jail. Like, if
Or jail?
you can use it to pay your bond for the jail and the operation. That's for the code, that's how it's designated, the purpose, use
But
of
the
it.
name of it is care of patients and inmates.
Care of patients, inmates, an account within Lit Correctional Rehab
Right.
Fund.
Right.
So, but I'm saying the Lit Correctional Rehab can be
Is for
used.
the debt service, okay, there, okay, that's what was confusing, so I was thinking, okay, you're paying debt service, that would
Care, gotcha.
Never mind. Okay. Okay, fine. And
And then the only other thing that I had down was, there was discussion about, they had requested was 40,000 for logs, video, audio because of blind spots. Whereas before that was a zero, so that was a raise in request.
It's because it's funded in Lit Correctional Rehab.
Okay.
so we can zero this out in the general fund because it's in rehab.
It's already
as
in
well.
there, so that 40,000 is.
covered at the, yeah, with the, I thought it was covered with
It was advertised in both,
Okay, so that was a double.
yes.
and that, as I recall, was that because of changes made in the floor plan and design of the jail itself,
I think that's kind of like
it
these.
wasn't covered?
I don't know if
In the
it's
original?
because of, I don't know if it's a design plan or if it's just that on paper, maybe it looked good, but then by the time you got, practical, they're up in place and all of a sudden maybe it's not quite the way. I'm not sure if it's a change in floor plan or not. But one of the things that we discussed is that it could be taken out of your contingency fund
Yes.
for the jail.
Yeah,
But
that was the other.
But that's not something you guys control.
Yeah. Well, if we take it, if we zero it out of the general fund and the, kind of half, then,
Yeah, in theory, but then the other side of it is, that I would be concerned about is if, I don't know, if the warranty's up sometime in 2023, something happens in the latter half of 23 and they need to get a part for a lock or something like that, then they would not have any funding for it.
okay?
So you're saying leave something in those accounts there?
In the
I
lit
would pick,
rehab?
I would pick an account in one fund or the other. So either in the county general jail department or in correctional rehab. I mean, that's just what I would think, just so that you have the ability to repair if they need it.
And we know that $40,000 is what they cost?
No, that's just the number that they had
Provided.
appropriated. It's kind of that's a budget account, that's the amount that they've had appropriated for years that they use for repairs as necessary to locks, video, and I don't know what the last audio. Now, you have the commissioner in here, he may be able to speak to the contingency
Well,
fund.
and if we look back through, well, of the 40,000, 7,065 was spent 2018, 21, 462 in 2019, 33, 31, 0 in 2021, 0 in 2022, 0 in 2023, so yeah, 25, 773. I mean, they haven't spent 40,000 prior. And that was with the old jail. The new jail, are they gonna have that many repairs necessary?
I think. You almost have to leave something
I don't know,
there.
I mean,
I think it's
Transfer
up
With
at
it being
up at
new,
25.
I'd rather be,
And then
see how long a TV or refrigerator lasts now versus if you bought it in 1980.
yeah. I need to leave it.
Those avocado green refrigerators are still kicking.
Yep. Do we wanna put it then in lit? Is
And-
that kind of
and-
what we're leaning towards?
Yeah, and I'm thinking, want to drop it to 5 or leave it at 40?
spent more than 25.
But that was on the old jail.
Jail.
You have more now, I'll give you that much too.
Do
I
what?
think,
You have more locks,
More
more
space,
cameras,
yeah.
more.
I think with it being, I mean,
Yeah,
my
I
thought
guess
is
it
with
is.
it being a new year, new jail, first year, maybe leave it this year, and then if we see it's not needed next year, drop it. I don't know. I'd just rather play it.
Was your final determination on care of patients to leave that at 400?
In lit.
In lit, not
Yeah.
in general
Yeah.
fund, yeah.
Okay, let's check.
We haven't made a motion yet.
Yeah, I know you have, I was just trying to get my
I
ducks
think
in.
if we zero out locks, videos, and audio in general fund, leave 40,000.
Rehab.
Yep. Write it down, what you would put.
I think that again is a standard. If something were to happen during the normal operations of a jail that they need to purchase something, it's not for anything specific. And that is advertised in both as well.
We take
So, Calissa, would all of those come out of the 1233?
The equipment, the locks, the care patients. Yes,
You know, I agree. I would just about say, I can't imagine what new equipment they're gonna need in a brand new building next year.
Yeah, what do you think?
I'm saying zero out of both.
The new equipment?
Everything is brand new. There's warranty on all the new stuff.
As long as I didn't forget to buy something.
Brendan, do you know when the
I built
warranty's
the
up
house.
on the jail?
I know you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
Usually you have to make multiple trips afterwards.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Do you know when the warranty's up on the jail?
So we paid to have a service done for a company to come in and do a study to show us what all the warranties are and to work on our preventative maintenance program. So that does vary, but most of the stuff is 12 months from occupancy, but it depends on what the system is. I will share with you that we are having problems already with the HVAC system. Has that been addressed in these previous meetings?
No, but I heard about it on the news.
And the challenge is the company, the manufacturer, Johnson Controls, is not responding to the construction manager, project managers, and communications. So we're looking at finding another contractor to come in and start working on it because we can't get the company to respond. We have to make sure the HVAC system works. So while it is a new jail, we talk about the newness of it and things should not go wrong. And I'm not saying that things are going wrong with the new jail, but this hiccup has been an eye-opener for sure. That when we rely on people to be there to service us, it's not happening. So,
As I recall, it wasn't 20 or 12 months from occupancy, it was 12 months from,
certification.
well, was it certification or was it, I can't remember what word, I mean, Mike was,
It goes either way. I mean, there's some that are from occupancy, there's some from certification, there's some from, but our plan was to move in earlier. So we've been running the facility. We had a delay due to the fire system. Some of the sensors were not in. And so that delayed the move-in time. You know, it's still not moved in. So, yeah, so to answer your question, it varies. But I wish somebody was here from the jail to answer these questions. The commissioners, our responsibility is it's our building, and we have to keep it running. But I am concerned that I think we all need to go into this with money available and look at it next year to see what we didn't spend next year versus not providing it now. Because I guarantee you, every council meeting, somebody's going to be up here asking you for money for the new facility in some form. And if we're looking at doing a service contract now with a preventive maintenance company, we were not anticipating doing that until this time next year. It's kind of an eye-opener.
So the service contract's not anywhere in your budget submission.
I forget, Calissa, I'd have to
Oh,
look and
okay.
see. It very well may be, but
It
that,
might be.
but we were not anticipating this. We were not anticipating having the manufacturer not respond to a concern. And we're just getting used to it. Customer service isn't there. I'm trying to get somebody to come fix a toilet at my house. Yeah, I've given up on that one. It's a good thing we have an extra bathroom. We're all dealing with it in some form. I'd say if the money's there, leave it, please, and then we can work through this next 12 months and then have a better idea. Our first utility bill, our first light bill was sticker shock. 3 times as much as what it is at the current facility, and it's unoccupied. So,
And these come out of the commissary account,
Equipment new.
equipment new.
Possibly. That happens.
Depends what it is.
There's
Okay, the
stipulations on
Equipment
what.
for the operation of sheriff and the jail are acceptable expenses, but they have to have available funds and, the desire to do it, I guess.
what was the original subject, the sheriff's maintenance fund or something? Is that what it
Equipment
is?
new.
It's
Equipment
equipment
new.
new.
Equipment new?
Yeah,
I don't know what else that they would have to buy.
that's kind of what my point was,
That's what
what
we
we
Yeah.
were talking about.
I thought it was maintenance, because that's what you asked
No,
about
that's-
the
there's
about the
another- there's
warranty
another
stuff.
one, yeah.
No,
Well, they're saying if
Equipment-
it's under
equipment
warranty,
new.
if we,
I don't know what else they would need to buy.
but
And then, so we're still under budget on the project. You know, I think you all know we moved forward with putting fencing around the employee parking lot just because of the security concerns that we have. So that tipped into that, or came from that buffer zone. There's still money there. What it is, I can't, I'd have to reach out to somebody to give it to you tomorrow, but
what about the additional cameras that they're needing? Can that come from your contingency?
yeah,
fund?
so I thought we already approved that.
they may have, we just haven't heard anything about it.
did.
Okay, well, they may have already approved the cameras.
Pause it for a second. I mean, this
Not
is
at
just
all.
a round table thing, right?
Yeah, not at all.
Because this was the one, the cameras that were in the area that were hard to see or something?
Yes.
Yeah, they had blind spots.
Don't we all?
This came up in a conversation, was it like 6th or 7th of July, maybe when they were in? So it could have been addressed by now.
Yeah.
So we agreed to do some improvements to the card reader system. It's an extra $6,000. We did that. Okay, so my archive stops January, February, March 9th. I can't, on my phone, I can't pull up anything deeper than that. I may be able to on my iPad, but I'm not seeing anything. That we have had a conversation about that, though, and I thought we said go ahead and do it.
Well, it makes sense that if you have the contingency fund and this was something that popped up that you didn't realize
Yeah.
on paper that you saw, oh gosh, there's a blind spot, we need a camera, that could come out of that fund.
Right. Yeah, because, I mean, it's part of the jail. It should,
Yeah.
it should come from that anyway.
Thank
They
you.
would do that.
Okay, thank you. Didn't know why they would need it. Okay.
I know they said they would look into it. So should we tentatively go ahead and take that out?
I'm thinking taking that out too.
So was that the one that was 40,000 under lots of video
Yeah,
audio?
take it out.
I thought it was
Or
the,
was it equipment new?
I thought you were talking about equipment new, but I don't
Actually,
know.
both. Because I can't imagine anything new that they're gonna need that they don't already have in the building. And then the logs they're gonna, and some cameras they're gonna take care of. Video and audio,
So you're zero both those out.
yes. Okay.
Is that in both accounts, is that?
Yes.
Is that right?
That sounds like it, doesn't it? Sounds like a lot.
I thought when Casey presented her budget, she said that they were looking good.
Is there anything in there about lawn care, that discussion?
Yes,
yet.
it's in the, from the commissioner's budget, Bill. We were talking about that.
Did I hear that was cut?
We haven't even done your budget
We
yet.
haven't gotten
We haven't
to it
done
yet.
your
It's in
budget
your
yet.
I'm sorry.
There's still time, though.
No, I would. Cut the lawn care? That was a stretch on that one.
Cut,
Gotta cut it,
edge it,
cut the grass.
cut it out.
Get everything for
We,
No.
that's gonna be one of
Okay,
those
Brenda wants to
uh-ohs. True.
motion.
If you need to, I can call Tyler, the project manager. I can go out in the hallway and call him to see that answer. I'm not seeing anything. with camera. I've got data, I have, some part of the project database I can get into, these are small.
Yeah, if you would call him.
Yep. We'll do that.
Appreciate
So
it.
the question is, the last ask for the cameras for the areas that we didn't plan for, okay.
I had blind
Yeah, they had
spots.
blind spots is what?
You think like 40,000?
No, that's just what was in there, so originally, what they've
I
had
don't,
the
I
last
don't
several
think it
years.
was a huge amount of
So they
cameras.
just said they would still be needing it because they had blind spots. But they also said they might move them from the old facilities, but I'm not sure what the plans are with that. You need to start robbing Peter.
So this one's ready to go once we get our answer.
Which
Yep.
one
Is that
is?
right? Yeah.
So, all right, so we're good with institutional supplies going up, food's going up, zeroing that. Contractual services was 70,000. There was something. Contractual services, are you, which one you want?
I had
Oh,
written down medical.
that's
coverage
for,
analysis.
Yeah.
medical,
medical.
quality correctional care, medical. Cheryl, in the correctional rehab, you have jail written by, in the notes by contractual services for 117.6. You know, yeah. Oh, so you think it was, well, 'cause wasn't correctional 100,100?
I write down. More inmates, uniforms,
Institutional supplies.
uniforms, shoes, et cetera,
For
whatever.
Oh.
wristbands, I don't know what wristbands are, but I wrote down wristbands, uniform, more inmates, laundry. They increased it just about 10,000.
For which one? Institutional supplies?
I don't know why they lose 31. Shit. I don't know why it's 31. Shit.
Do we know why, the institutional supplies, 2022 expended so far this year is only 30.5? So, like, total expenditures 2021 is 139.
Do, oh, okay. All right.
And it did rain for like 30 seconds. It is absolutely horrible outside right now. It's, that's the weather report.
All right, medical supplies.
up to almost 53. Okay.
That's what they buy, inmate uniforms and,
It said,
Shoes.
my notes say that it's not medical or food related, medical or food related.
Outfits, fashion attire.
I think they do blankets and,
Yeah, I mean, with
Size
the,
like-
well, and with the new move, maybe that, I don't know, just starting fresh with, and that might be part of it too.
that might have been why they didn't expend this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have been holding off till they got in the new jail to buy new stuff.
Yeah. Don't wanna bring anything with it.
I zero out. Both of them, both of them.
They did spend 139.
Yeah. I'm okay with leaving that one.
yeah.
With foods, I have notes that say increased cost in inmate populations, why they increased from 515 to 552,
For the increase in population
and cost of food.
of cost of food. No.
Do you have anything?
Whatever you guys decide with, move that stuff to the lid.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the budget for the jail 038023s and 4s for, as presented, with the exception of line 32-100, care of patients and inmates, that should be 0. Line 44-510, equipment new, should be 0. 44-521, locks, video, and audio should be 0.
And then equipment.
I did that one.
Okay, you got them all. Okay, with the idea that it's gonna come out of the other fund. I second that.
Have a motion and a second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Do we wanna make the changes to the lit?
Not yet, because you have some of the commissioners'
Others
budget
that
that
we
may,
might get
and the
to.
sheriff
So I
that may.
wrote it there.
We need to
Keep
go
in
back.
mind, one of the big things that you need to be thinking about how you wanna address, if you want to address the 11 new positions, cause that's the big increase in the jail budget is 11 new positions and all the benefits, so,
We address that once we hit like the
Yes.
salary stuff.
but I just
Okay.
want it at the front of your head.
Okay, next one, sheriff.
Sheriff.
Feels so short.
Next is Sheriff, Fund 0005. Questions from committee? I wrote down some stuff to the, right? Some of the stuff came out of this budget.
For the sheriff?
Also.
It could be out of public safety, but not, probably
Could be
not
what?
correct, out of the public safety lit, probably not correctional rehab.
Did we shift some stuff from here to EMA, maybe radios or something? Did we?
No,
I was thinking there were two departments that the sheriff's department was no longer paying for.
there was,
Oh,
what was it from EMA, but I think it was a prior year. It happened before,
was that last year?
I think so. I feel like
Only the
there's,
internet, I was thinking there were two things. Is that it?
There was the internet and
No, it was.
internet
and that was
or?
IT was paying something for them before, and then and the sheriff was paying something for them before.
Yeah.
Like TVs or a video.
Okay, malware.
Malware.
Malware was
yeah.
the sheriff's department, so EMA increased their budget by
Was that
$2,300 for malware and
contractual
$750.
services, or where, what
It's
line
under-
did that come under?
System hardware for the sheriff's
Oh, seriously. And how much was it?
2,300. It's what they said.
for
EMA.
EMA.
EMA said that they had to add $2,300 to their budget because of malware. It used to be paid by the sheriff. And in theirs, it was paid in contractual services.
And technically, since it's a kind of a software issue, why is it paid out of this hardware?
Well, I mean,
Just a
it could be,
technicality, I guess.
I mean,
or-
malware could affect your system. I don't, your
suppose,
hardware,
yeah.
I guess if it,
Okay. Overthinking is my superpower, I'll try to rein it in, okay.
So the sheriff's requested 11,000 more this year for that same thing, malware.
But it's going down by 23. Good.
And then there was the contractual services for a virus system, that looks like it was the significant. It's 33,300,
116.6.
yeah.
That was, what was that for?
That's for a virus system, I think it's a,
Oh,
like a
oh.
one-time.
$6,600. That's why that's 110.1 or 110.
So the 110.1, that is in lit public safety, and it says 117.6 in there for this year.
One-
Correctional rehab and lit public safety. But that's the same thing, is that the same thing that's in contractual services in the sheriff's budget?
16.6.
Because if you look at it, there's nothing adopted for 2022, but it was put in public safety in 2022, the same 110.1.
And this, ours says 116.6, not 117.6.
Mine in contractual, in the sheriff's budget says 116.6, but if you go to lit public safety, it says 117.6.
Oh, I see it now. So
So that's one we could do out of
that
either.
should be, eliminate both of those.
It was funded out of, well, does it say what it's for?
That's the same one.
So let's go to,
You don't think it is?
let's go to their, probably in the sheriff's budget, the whole great big thing that they,
Yeah, it's kind of big, a lot of them. Edge technology. same thing that that would be used, the 117.6 in lit, public safety? Is it the
They've
same
not
thing?
provided any explanation of the public safety. But
So you think they're two different
from
requests?
what I can, well, I don't know,
Just
because
happens to be-
when I look at the lit public
Sounds valid.
safety, if you look at the history, last year, it was 110,100 was adopted. That says for the jail. I don't know if that's really the sheriff. But what's the?
But it just so happens that in the sheriff's budget, 110,100 is in the general fund too.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference we're looking at is the general fund has 116.6 and the lit public safety has 117.6. $1,000 difference from typo, but it's the same, is it for the same thing though? Because the explanation for Fund 33,300 in general fund has itemized things that total 116,600. Well, and for there to be 110,100 budgeted for 2022,
What do you think?
That was the 110-1.
yeah, that,
They
have
use
that be
any
the
of
same in lit public safety as it is in the sheriff's department. That kind of leads me to believe that it's the same items, just in this two different accounts.
So that it's like they put it in twice.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And that the
Let's look at-
117 might have been the 7 might have been a typo from the.
Let's look and see if there's, go back further, do they provide?
Any information about lit public safety, is that what you want to bring up?
Mhm.
I think it might have been a typo, could have been 166.
Okay. While we're waiting, you said you reached out to Derek? Okay. Is there anything else that we need to?
Well, you're out of here, take it up to 16, six, and then lit public safety.
Lit public? Okay. So that's one we can do out of either fund again. So we can do,
If we,
This one?
okay.
so we'll take
So
it out of general fund and we'll change it to 116.6 in the lit public safety one. Is that right? I think-
So the one in public safety, you want that at,
116.6 to,
And then zero out, are we zeroing out the sheriff's fund then?
yes, the general fund. Yeah.
the other supplies, the 21100, it's in both lit public safety and, yeah,
Do the same thing?
211 for other supplies.
yeah.
You will have a technical correction coming for the lit, in front of you for 6,000 that I will provide to the council. It's not really the sheriff's fault, as it was approved in the budget last year, but when I got to the final, it did not get entered in Gateway. It was approved by the council for other supplies for 6,000, so it's a technical correction we normally do in the beginning. I just wanna make sure there's no other ones to clean up the year.
Okay, so it will come out of lit public safety, not general fund, so this can be
Yeah,
zero.
it's not a general fund thing, it's
Okay,
just a
that's
lit,
fine.
but that is a technical correction.
Is that then you'll make an adjustment for what was spent out
Yes,
of,
yes,
okay.
yes. And I had told them that I would take care of putting the letter in since it was ours. We normally try to do those.
This year.
Since it wasn't general, I wasn't quite as frantic because it's only 6,000 and out of lit, but it was approved by the council
And it is.
committee and everything, and should have been in the budget. It just, when it got keyed into Gateway
I
for
think
approval.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, we had that discussion. That was the one I said did not get put in.
It was a day or two ago. They've asked for an increase in vehicle repair. It has to do with insurance deductibles.
I think that might be.
And, as far as animal
Yeah, right
control
here.
supplies, have they really spent zero this year?
What were you asking about, Brenda?
Animal control supplies, they've spent zero this year. They spent, of their $4,000 budget, $23.96 the year before, $29.09, $461 the time before, $535 the year before, and zero this year.
Let's see what that's been for.
I don't think so. Cut it to zero. Two. Just because, I mean, I just know people living in the city, issues still. Even if they haven't spent it, leave some.
Yeah, I spent like $2,400 last year.
Because when they do something for upfront,
Okay, so we're gonna take, is that right?
Two.
Take it down to
22,200 to
two.
2.
yeah.
Vehicle repair, was just told us.
One of the other things when you're looking through there, because right now, the budget that's in the requested column was 1,623,600, with the adjustment to contractual services, 1,622. But that makes, if we advertise it for 2 million, so you have 377,400, that if you wanted to shift, like personal protection equipment, that may be a good item.
Yeah.
If there's anything in there that you see that you would like to switch over that makes sense to you for public safety.
How much are we over by?
We have 377,400 that you can move, and that you're still within the advertising. So if there's something that you think that you can move over there and it reduces the burden on the general fund and it's a public safety item, you can most definitely do that.
Been nothing this year on radio equipment, but they pretty close to the girls' full 36.8.
But, I mean, you've got vehicles, equipment new, radio equipment, system hardware, PPE.
Those are all one-timers. That whole bottom part.
Well, I mean, vehicles doesn't go away because once they get them paid, then the lease is up, then they just get more.
It's gone.
So, I mean, it's pretty much an annual event, but
Brendan, the radio equipment,
Okay.
is there something going on with radios?
So there's a countywide initiative to upgrade radios, mainly for volunteer fire departments that aren't on the 800 megahertz system. There's a new state system that everybody needs to be on. The city's looking at doing a major upgrade, and I was hoping that we could use ARP funds to help out the county fire departments to upgrade theirs. As far as our law enforcement end goes, if that's what we're talking about now, that's never been part of the discussion because they're already on the system from what I understand.
well, they only asked for 36,880, so I'm assuming it's, if they need to buy,
36,000.
yes.
So a handheld radio, the market price is $6,000 right now.
So it might be a replacement radio.
Yeah, if something gets broke.
The ideal radio for fire departments is about 8,500, but the models that they're using is 6,000. And then to put a radio in vehicles, it's about $6,000 right now also. So that may be for the sheriff's department's cars.
I think it's probably just for replacements here and there.
Can that be put in public safety, public safety?
Good.
I think so.
So there has been a struggle, radios in cars. Sheriff's Department, as we know, they crash cars. We have a $5,000 per incident deductible.
That's why
And,
they're,
and it's hard to even get cars right now. So, I don't know if, that's kind of something to think about, that, does that radio go with the car? Can they pull it out, whatever, so, just something to think
That
about.
was just what I was
thanks, Brendan.
If you read in their thing, it says they have a lease with Motorola to routinely replace the aging
That's some
100
age
plus
out.
radios.
Okay, well, I think that could come out.
Yeah, it looks like they have a lease with them to continually kind of replace the old ones as they go out, so there's not one big capital outlay.
Collisset office supplies come out of there too. I know they do that every year, but it's technically a purchase for just this year.
I mean,
Or would you suggest something else?
me, I would probably look more towards the vehicles, the equipment, the software system hardware, the radio equipment, some of your bigger items that,
Vehicles? Oh, you think vehicles?
is it for public safety?
Well, yeah, that's true.
Pretty much anything that's in the
And how much
sheriff's
did you say,
budget.
300, and how much do we have,
300,000.
375?
377.4.
Yeah, so if we got the,
Oh, yeah, I guess vehicles
if
out
we
of
took
there.
the vehicles, that's close to 200,000.
Equipment too.
Okay, so we're doing vehicles, radio equipment. What's the other one we're looking at?
Equipment new,
Okay.
and
Does anyone keep
PPE.
track?
So what do,
PPEs,
here,
what's
let's add these up real quick. So if we look at 12.6,
Oh, there is.
190.
Could we put more?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, yes.
That's 298,825 if it's PPE, vehicles, equipment new, system hardware, and radio equipment. Assuming
Vehicle
that I
repair
added them,
can't come out of that?
huh?
Vehicle repair can't?
I mean, you could,
No.
I mean, to me, I feel like,
All supplies, but
yeah, I mean,
really, that's only two.
I
Other
feel like
supplies.
if you're going to use a local income tax for that, it might be better if they saw something for it other than kind of disposable goods,
Yeah.
like office supplies and, oh, yep, there it went.
We do the 2,000 animal control. I know that's just a little bit towards it, but
That's,
I mean, the other thing you could do if you wanted to is you can shift a little bit more of the jailers, the reimbursement for county general for the jailers, you can shift that. And that way you don't have to try to look to find something for this one. Cause right now there's, what, 1.5 million to reimburse county general. So you could make up the difference with that.
so we did decide. And we reduced it by 20.
we put system hardware. So
Yeah. and
I put
reduced it by
system
20.
hardware in already.
And reduce reduce it by $2,300.
You moved system hardware over
Yeah,
Yeah,
to lit.
That's
and
in my-
reducing it by $2,300.
to
That's
lit
in-
public safety?
yes.
We're gonna reduce it by $2,300 since they're not paying it to EMA anymore.
Is that system hardware or contractual services? Where did they, where did you look to, where are they paying it out of?
I thought it was system hardware.
Well, that may have been in EMA, but I don't know where it was in sheriff's budget.
Does it have to be system hardware or?
So if we look at that 116.6 or whatever it is,
Actually, I wrote contractual services fiber system.
well, but I think that, what I'm saying is that's in the,
It's not under.
that's in EMA's budget, contractual services.
It's
let's-
not, okay, yeah, it's not in the contractual services.
Did you move personal protection equipment or not?
Yes. It should be about 300,000, if I added correctly,
I'm trying to see where you're at right
on
now,
my phone calculator.
You have them, Cheryl?
where I'm going.
I was trying to find,
I have got the reimbursed county general at 1.5.
it says Edge Technologies request an increase, so system hardware is where they pay for.
Contractual services at 116.6. Personal protection equipment at 12.6. Vehicles at 199,245. Equipment new at 25. System hardware at 26.1. Radio equipment at 36,880. Is there anything I'm missing? Are you gonna leave other supplies in there for 6,000, or are you gonna leave it in the other one?
I left that
No. Lit public safety.
in lit public safety and looking at adding, if you
Which is
go-
where we're at right now.
If you go from
No, we're in
personal
general fund.
protection equipment, that's basically it's all the 400s.
And then I added the 6,000 for other supplies, so if I have everything in there, you're at 1,922,425.
On,
199,245.
1,922,425.
in lit public safety,
In lit public safety.
okay.
Did you subtract the 2,300 for the,
I haven't done that yet.
out of system hardware in the sheriff's department general fund? We subtract the 2,300 out of there, that because they're not paying the EMA hardware?
So you wanna reduce the 26.1 by 2,300?
Yes.
So that's-
And we did move the contractual service. Here, so zeroed it out of here, and just left it there, we're not adding it to anything. Okay. And we're keeping the office supplies at 17,000 in general fund, right?
in general.
Yes. Yeah.
2,000.
Yes.
So just
That
to-
makes it 23.8 for 1,920,125.
1,92025?
1,920,125.
Okay, so to verify, we moved vehicle, radio, equipment, PPE, other supplies,
Contractual service.
contractual services.
We're not moving contractual
Yeah.
services, we're just zeroing it out of here, because it's
Zero.
already in the other one.
Yeah, we put concerns.
No, anything else we can do? We're good.
All right, go for it.
I make a motion that, we approve the requested amount for the sheriff's department, account 0005, 005. The 1, 2, 3s, and 4s, with the following exception, line 21,100, other supplies should be 0. Line 22,200, animal control supplies changes to 2,000. Line 33,300, contractual services, 0. Line 44,210, personal protection equipment, 0. Moving to lit public service. Line 44,460, vehicles, 199, 245 should go to zero, or excuse me, should go to lit public service, so it's zero in this account. Line 44,510, equipment new, should go to zero and move to lit public service. Line 44,520, system hardware, reduces by 2,300, so it's 23,800, and it moves to lit public service. And 44,630, radio equipment, goes to zero, and the 36,880 moves to lit public service.
I approve.
What, second?
Second.
Did you get that? Motion on the floor and a second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Up next is Commissioners, 0068.
You waited the whole time. We're up for you.
Wait on here.
Just to remind you guys, this is the one I had to watch from home. So I got most of it, but I might need some feedback on some information. As a matter of fact, I might bust out.
All right.
First thing that jumps out at me is, the liability insurance. It looks like the expenditure so far this year is 166,487, which I understand it was, it's been more in the past. Have we spent more than 166,487? I was trying to hear. Okay. Guess we can come back to that one, because I'm assuming that's a monthly or quarterly payment, and that's why it's so low right now.
Is there a reason Hamilton donation goes up,
Set by the state.
set by the state?
There's a whole calculation that tells us what we have to
Are we
contribute.
giving, from my understanding, there's a minimum we can give, correct? Or that we have to give? Is there, are we giving more than that minimum?
No. Is that the same answer you were gonna give? Yeah, I know.
Is there any way around it?
What's the penalty for not paying it?
So I've asked officials with the state to see if we could use that money for the community mental health centers to split it up for other organizations. The response was not what I was looking for by any means. So many commissioners throughout the state are looking at how we can improve our community mental health center opportunities within the counties, and use that money towards programs that are working versus the designated CMHC. So what is the number this year? Nicholas, is it 700,000?
It says 713 in there, but I think the number that came out later was 714,906.
Yeah.
Is that based on per capita? Is that,
Yeah, it's a tax rate. It's
They have a whole calculation. It used to be just that if it was 687,930 in 2022, you added 5% to that because that's what the growth quotient was. Now they've changed it up and made the calculation a little bit more complex, and I don't know what all involves, because they pretty much tell you this is what you're gonna get.
So there's two different dynamics, if I can try to educate everybody for about 1 minute on this. So the CMHC, the state says you have to do. And then the CMHC, Community Mental Health Center, is designated by the state. Hamilton Center, I think, was designated from day one, which if I'm right, was 1972, and it's always been Hamilton Center. There's another organization that we support, which is now called ARC, A-R-C. The acronym has changed. The acronym's the same, but what it means has changed throughout the years.
It's more politically correct.
We avoid the R word now in that, but it's an organization that provides services for adults with disabilities. They're an incredible organization. We have been providing them, Calissa, correct me if I'm wrong.
87,000.
I was going to say 78,000, so 87,000,
since-
but it
at
has
least
been
2,000.
since 2000.
At least 2,000.
It's never changed. And the state encourages us to provide more money. There isn't a set calculation, designation like there is for the CMHCs. But I think we did ask for more. We met with ARC. $1 million today would put them where they were at 87,000 in 2000, if I'm articulating that correctly.
You did increase that in the budget.
To what, 300,000?
You did not.
Did not. I think we did not because our plan was to have a discussion and have the ARC group come in, but apparently that has not happened.
Where is it on? Oh, there it is. Right there.
It's 31750.
If there is an opportunity for the ARC to present to you, I will set that up instantly, because it's needed. They use that money to work with employers to provide work opportunities for people with disabilities.
Well, and I just know from our side, the school side of it, our numbers have gone up for those who qualify for services through special needs, developmental, et cetera, so I'm sure that there's more need as well.
I feel awful now because there was every intent for us to ask for money, a lot more money for them, and as you shared with me, Calissa, we didn't do that. So I don't, if the deal's done, then we'll look at it for next year. But if there is an opportunity for this year, I think it'd be worth listening to. David Ofsansky is the executive director, and Will Frankel's their attorney.
So the bottom line is we're stuck with the
Hamilton Center?
$714,906 to Hamilton Center.
that's the
Absolutely
new
nothing
number,
we can
right?
do with that.
I made a note that
Cheryl.
said were adjustments made later.
That's the new number for the mental health, right?
What's that?
714,906?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, we are locked into that. So there's a petition system. What I was told from the state, in order to look at a different CMHC, it's about an 18-month process, and this was when I mentioned it last fall. And you have to have official complaints and concerns, and the CMHC has 18 months to resolve those issues, to address them. Basically what I heard was, it is what it is.
Fair enough.
Do you know why I would have made a note that says we're going to adjustment made later to max levy and tax cap for credit?
You do. So when they're calculating our max levy, they take last year's levy, you add 5%, but then you can make adjustments. They'll increase it for our contribution, so they'll add 714,906 in for that to adjust. So I think the logic is that you're not really spending your levy on that. It's taxpayers are still paying, because but there's an adjustment that you can use that 714 for other things as well. And then also the same thing for art. So the art, we do 87,000, but I think they allow an adjustment up to like 1,500 or 1,600 for that.
I think the figure we came up with, it's almost
1.6 million. I mean,
million.
sorry.
Yeah.
It's million, sorry.
Yeah, we could do almost 1.5 million
Yeah,
for
I
art.
got it. Your max.
It's 1,598,152, I think is what the numbers, but we do 87,000.
But where they need to be at is around $1 million a year to provide the services that they needed, that they did provide for us in 2000 at $87,000. With the Community Mental Health Center, they're supposed to provide services within the community. That's how this came about. When the state reduced the mental health hospital system, they passed it off onto counties. And they said, you're going to fund this, here's how you're going to fund that, and then whatever provider wanted to be the CMHC had to provide services. Well, that was in 1972. Those services are still needed today, and as things have evolved and needs have increased, our population hasn't increased. Our population is lower today than it was in 1972, but our needs are much higher. We'll be releasing our homeless count data from the homeless count that we had the last Wednesday of July. Without officially releasing that data, Howard, I think we're at 492 is what we counted. Who would have thought we'd have 492 people considered homeless? And CMHC dollars are supposed to be there to provide for services for people like that, or people in need in general that may not have the finances to pay for mental health care. So these are two unfortunate needs. Yeah, the council can definitely increase the contribution to ARC. ARC cannot serve as our CMHC. They don't provide all the services, but they do provide a tremendous service.
Appreciate it, thank you.
And then Humane Society, we have one up as well.
I guess to go along with the liability insurance and the liability claim, the liability claim seems to not be reaching the $150,000 amount.
Is that just as a protection thing since it's liability?
91 and 64, then we did exceed it in 2020. We're at 49. What types of liability claims are we talking about?
Well, you want to explain it, Brendan, or would you want to explain it?
What was the question again?
Liability claims.
What type of claims are you
For
talking
liability insurance.
So is that for the liability insurance policy?
No.
It's
no,
not the premium,
claim.
it's the
It's
one
the
where
claims.
if you have a claim that,
Or you want to add something on that, Cheryl?
No, well, I mean, I can, that's been past settlements.
Okay, I mean, lawsuits.
It's part of what
we-
you have to pay.
We have several pending lawsuits right now that more than likely we're going to have to pay to go away, as they say. So that would come from that fund.
Okay, so that needs to.
That right, Cheryl?
Do you know how many
Yeah.
have
How many?
outstanding?
I think there's two that we're going to have to pay for
This-
sure. But I have to stop there.
In the next coming year?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
and those are what I would call pay to go away.
all right.
And that's a number that's stayed
What
pretty
what's our
consistent.
ask this year?
400.
400,000.
No,
40,
no,
sorry.
No,
it's 150.
150,000.
you're
Yeah.
looking on liability insurance.
Oh, never mind. Yep.
I mean,
Which we're close to it.
realistically, pay to go aways are $60,000. So if you got 3 of those a year, that's
For
about
this
$8.
year,
So
yeah.
What have we paid this year?
49,184.
And then legal services, I'm assuming, is for those.
well, there's legal services, but so we also absorb court costs. So if the courts have a change of venue, that comes out of the commissioner's budget.
But there's a change of venue line for that.
Yeah, there's.
Okay, so I'd
different.
have to see the breakdown on that, Brenda.
Legal services is your county.
What's what you pay for your county attorney?
Is your county.
Well, and it's odd because there was a zero budget for it, but then like in
You would have had
2021, they dumped.
You would have had a
37,000.
zero budget because you had a full-time staff attorney.
We've changed that, I guess.
It was changed this
In
last
2021.
year to a.
I'm still not
contractual.
overly sure how that's working. I mean, it's working. We've retained a modest law firm, and they bill by the hour.
Okay. And so far, 36,147 has been spent this year.
Yes.
Okay.
we also have Michael Wright, former full-time city attorney on retainer at an hourly rate. And the hourly rates really are reasonable when you compare it to the CIV rates. As I get the look from Calissa, let me wrap up with that one.
Yeah. You pay more for the Indianapolis firms.
Oh, my goodness.
47 this year.
Yes.
And bumped it up by 5.
I'm sure every department's going to say this, but we were pretty conservative in our budget, knowing that we needed to be conservative in our budget. There may be some errors. Don't give me that look, Calissa.
I would mark sucrose.
Oh, no, I was talking about.
It's right here.
No,
Huh? You can't, oh, well, here. I can pull it up here.
they just come to us.
Actually, I got it pulled up here. Just as you requested mine right here. Those are definitely.
Those are almost all. We did increase this one. Or wait, the,
Hamilton?
no,
I
the
take care
United,
of
with the vets,
That's
the burial soldiers. Didn't we increase that?
No, it was adopted at 12 last year.
Okay, so we stayed the same. There's changes.
It was the same in 21 too.
Yeah.
Brendan,
Yes, hi.
Commissioner Kern.
Yes, hi, friend.
Um,
Councilwoman Davies.
with Humane Society, is that something that has a formula too? Is there a reason for the increase?
No, yes, there is a
30,000,
reason.
20?
What, remind me what the increase was it 20,000?
Last year was 59,167, this year's 80.
So,
Last year was 55,000.
Oh,
because that
55,
was-
sorry.
and then does Spay and Neuter League show up on your thing?
That was
It's-
combined with
But
Humane
it's a
Society.
0.
Okay, so that's at 0. What was it before?
5,000. So it used to be
5,000.
Humane Society was 50, and Spay and Neuter was 5. You
Yeah.
combined them to 1, and now it was 55,000. And this year you're asking for 80,000.
We did boost it up, so we've helped fund them any way that we can. So they're doing more spay and neutering. There's an organization that comes to Terre Haute, a vet that works out of the fairgrounds once every couple months, and I guess they're lined up all the way to Terre Haute to do that. That group has actually approached us to see if we would do cost sharing. The concern that I have on that is, when we looked at the Spay and Neuter League, we saw frequent flyers. The bills would come to us, and we'd notice the same person there all the time. And it just didn't seem right. So we thought it would be much better just to support the organization that is in our community to take care of these issues and put that money towards them for those additional services. The Humane Society's expenses have gone up. And so we just thought that we're being with the times and increasing that ask. We can argue that it's a city humane society, but it's not, it's county. People bring animals in from all over, and so they need the help. So yes, we asked to increase it more. It's its own organization, it's not a county organization. We do have a county animal control officer, that's Tim Taylor, which you talked about earlier in their budget. He works with them. So, he's taken animals to them. So we just felt it was the right thing to do. We'd actually like to make it a lot higher.
Is he able to drop them off?
Mhm.
The city police can't.
They won't allow them.
Well, very seldom, seems like it.
I would say if they had more funding and more ability, then that would change. So I don't know. My understanding is, though, the new director is doing some great things, and they're very efficient. Mike Morris, Commissioner Morris, is heavily involved, been a big supporter of the Humane Society, and I think he led the ask on this. I focused on the spay-neuter thing because of some red flags that I saw, but they do it, so why not?
I feel like when they were here for the meeting, that it was geared towards Humane Society increase and not spay and neuter.
Yeah, we're pushing for humane. The spay-neuter's gone. That group's gone, that spot group.
Right, but it's, I don't know, it's just that you,
So they provide those services there.
Humane Society does for,
Yeah, they can. But it ebbs and flows because they have to be able to have providers.
So Brendan, have you signed a new contract with them for a different amount for next year?
Do we sign? I didn't realize we signed a contract with them.
Yeah, you have a contract with them, you give them a monthly amount.
Oh,
What is that?
I have to see it. I don't remember ever signing a contract with them.
416666
As of this
Per month.
year, or you mean?
per
that's
month.
based on 50,000, I'm assuming, if you take.
It's, yeah, 50,000, because the city has a contract too.
What's
We
the
pay them.
cities? Is it roughly the same, or?
It's 50 or 75.
I'm so glad you're on the city council.
I just know that you guys used to have one, so,
I don't
We
recall
do.
ever signing a contract with them since I've been here.
well, I'm not saying that's been
If
updated.
Is it, the contract's anything over 50,000?
It's weird, because, yeah, last year it was 4180, 81.
I'm sure the Humane Society would be very happy with, if it even stays the same, but the extra amount will help them provide services that are needed in the community.
Well, I mean, I do have to say you have had to pay the veterinarians individually in the past. I mean, there's been a few years, it's been a while, but I'm assuming if there's an issue.
It's very hard to find local vets to do the spay-neuter services that are needed. It's hard enough to get your animals in. And that was one of the things that came up with a group of concerned citizens came to meet with us. Their focus was on cats. But it's a big issue right now. We've got people that are corralling cats and taking them to be spayed and dropping them off. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been based on 50,000 for quite a while.
So we actually have a dog tax. Did you know that? Or license, a pet license. Anybody in here have a dog or cat?
I think I actually paid that.
No, you didn't.
Didn't?
You know how I know this? Because last year only one person did, and it wasn't
Yeah.
me.
It's
I was
not.
gonna do it.
Are you supposed to do it every year?
It's not being,
Nobody does it.
no.
I was gonna say, I paid something, I know I gotta pay.
It was
for my first dog.
established when they were gonna buy a truck for Tim Taylor, if I recall right. So it wasn't that long ago, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Does that sound right, Cheryl?
I feel like
No,
it's been longer than that, it's been there a
Has
lot
it?
longer.
It's been around. It used to be that the
Treasurer.
township trustees or something went around and.
And then the treasurer, they're supposed to do it at the
Then they-
treasurer's
yeah, and then
office.
they switched it kind of when we took stuff away from trustees or assessor, I
But
don't
at
know.
one point, was it at the assessor's office too?
That's what I'm saying, one of them, because when we lived out east, it was always the trustee or assessor coming
Yeah,
around.
so there was them, and then it went to treasurer, but this has been around for a long time.
Well,
Then it
the-
went to when you're supposed to actually be honest and come in and
Right.
pay it at the treasurer, well, that's not.
So I did this. I actually went to the sheriff's department. I turned myself in and I said, I'm here to pay my dog license. And like,
They
what?
probably really
Why?
didn't know.
It's $5.
Brendan?
Yes?
I'm not eligible to adopt a dog from the Humane Society, so I'm not paying the tax for them.
You're not?
Nope.
Why not?
I don't have a fenced-in yard.
I didn't know you had to have fenced-in yard.
You have to have a fenced-in yard. I can live on a plot of land that's 50 acres.
But you gotta have fenced-in yard?
Yep, so you're not eligible.
Government regulations and rules, I tell you what,
We're gonna have to keep,
it's tough. But I went to pay it, and I said, well, how much is it? Miss Moats was at the counter, and she says, well, it's $5. And I said, what do I get for my $5? Well, we're gonna get you the little metal thing, we're gonna mail it to you. And I said, you're gonna have more than $5 in this. She goes, oh, yeah, we know. So that's when I realized, this is silly.
They probably had the same box of tags for like 30 years now.
Could, yeah. Yep, we have a dog and cat license. Well, without seeing it, Cheryl's gonna look it up, I think. I heard $30,000.
I was gonna say, I thought that, I went over these last times.
Old
that just
jail
for the
is
one?
13.7 thousand a month, new jail was 19,000 per month, only sheriff occupied. That's what they said.
A number came to me at 30,000 for a month, which I thought that there's no way.
So
It was
19,000.
19,000
Without any
back in
mention.
July.
So in
June or
July,
July, whenever they were
19, June with non-occupied, 19,000.
Well, it said sheriff occupied.
And I just checked, the HVAC system is working properly now. I was just informed.
They got it fixed.
It's working properly right now.
Good answer.
Wrigley spearmint, stuck it right in the thing and it works.
What I'm worried about.
Till that gum dries out, we're all right. Howard, that was, got it, Joe.
Sheriff and new jail.
juicy
for 19,000. All right.
Yes.
That's what they said at the meeting, so when exactly that period was for, I don't know.
I'm the wrong guy to ask numbers. That's why I gotta look at somebody.
That's your dyslexic.
Just like 80, I was gonna say 78,000.
I know.
So,
At least you had the right numbers.
Under 100.
And they have solar panels at the jail and it's 6.1 megawatts per hour. How about that?
The solar panels are paying off already. We're doing
Not-
good.
Not enough, because we.
Oh,
still
no, it
increase
won't cover that bill,
electricity.
no. But it'll,
I
Brenda,
thought
we have solar panels there?
it,
Is
oh
that
yeah,
what you
on the
said?
Sally Port? Yep. Sally Port is solar powered. And it's working extremely well. And actually, I'll put together a report for you.
Brendan, on the professional service, they increased the ask to 75,000. They said 60 of it was RJL and 15,000 was anticipated.
Yeah, RGL should be 52,000, so I guess 60. The anticipated ones was probably going to be tied to services to the jail.
For professional services.
I got to, that's probably not right. That'd be contractual services.
So you don't know what that,
No. Oh, yeah, yes, I do. So we just, the DLZ study for the current jail,
Just kind of writing this.
projects like that. The $8,000 to $12,000 consultant studies. But as far as which ones we had lined up for next year, I do not recall.
I have professional.
But the one that we just did for the current jail building, that wasn't anticipated. But I think it was 10 or 12.
I don't have contractual.
contractual services in there.
Not in the, not
It's
in
on-
the,
Oh,
not
right
in the
there.
one with the, all the history
Got
that
it.
we were
Yep.
provided, is what
Yep.
I'm talking about.
Yeah, no.
This one is fine.
What was that one?
One that goes back to the,
Oh,
So contractual is the one we were talking about with the lawn and stuff. Right?
yes. It was, WAD was something was 9,500. 15,000 for new jail bond. 125,000 for new jail upkeep.
Does that involve our,
9,500 was already there.
yeah, was that where you were talking about we'll have like a contractual service to watch and monitor what we need to upkeep and stuff?
There are several mechanical maintenance companies in the area that we are talking to about doing the actual maintenance, not the cleaning up type maintenance, but the running the HVAC system, roofing stuff, which we shouldn't have to. There's a warranty on that, I think of 5 or 10 years.
At least have them watch it.
Yeah, that number we absolutely need. We don't
That's
have,
125,000.
we don't have a plumber, to put it in perspective.
I'm looking at 33,300 contractual services.
but what number is it?
I just use that as an example. We don't have a plumber. We tried hiring somebody part-time as a plumber. We don't have one. So we're going to need to contract with a company that when we have situations in the jail, and we will,
In
that we can call them.
In the notes, that was the 125,000.
So the adopted budget in 2022 for practical services was $9,500, $9,500, and the request is $165,000 this year.
That is because with this new jail, we do not want to have the same maintenance issues that got us into this problem. The current jail, the one there that people are still in, was not maintained properly. Here we built this nice new jail, this new facility. We need to ensure that it's properly maintained. We do not have the skills to do it. So we are going to have to pay somebody, a company, to do it. So that's why we have that big ask. That number was not pulled out of the air. That number is a result of talking to at least 2 potential companies. We have not done an RFP yet. We weren't planning on doing it this early in the game. But as I shared earlier with the Johnson Controls issue, that opened our eyes that we're going to need to be doing an RFP pretty soon.
In my notes, and I have that 47.5 would go to correctional rehab in the discussion we had back in July, maybe?
To that building? No, to Bill's building?
No, correctional rehab fund,
Oh.
lit correctional rehab. And what I believe is, it is a portion of the 125 and the 15, and it's
Just hold it up.
proportioned out to maybe 3 or 4 months.
Then, you wanna know, the $9,500 is for Dawson Consulting. Again,
Yeah,
when
so
it
the
comes to
9,500's
allocation.
already there, but they increased it to 1.6, so
Yes, and that's for the new jail upkeep and lawn care is what's in here.
So that was for the current jail building, to do a study is what we can use it for, if the building is feasible to be reused, or if we should tear it down. I think the commissioning is finished. I can double check. When did Mike update you on that?
So that would have been early June.
and even your notes say 125 new jail upkeep,
Or no,
15
mid-June.
for new jail lawn upkeep.
Yeah, another commissioner came in here and said that 125 wasn't based on anything. You guys were shooting high.
There are 2. There's one company that there have been conversations with.
Probably ought to tell your president.
Thank you for the feedback. I'm good. You know the phrase, gotta worry about number 1, right? Yeah.
So you guys are looking at someone?
Yes, it's a local company.
And the quote on that, or did you have a number? You don't have a number for that?
I think,
Do I have a number for that?
it says like, what, 125 for new jail upkeep?
You're gonna be at least $100,000 for the contract.
You are gonna do an RFP, you said, for that.
An RFP will be done based off of the commissioning report. So that's one of the things, so the commissioning report is supposed to put together this huge manual that basically tells whoever, this is your book, this is your Bible, this is what you're gonna use to maintain this jail so it doesn't fall apart in 20 years, or 5 years for that matter. And so that all works together.
But I think when you
Can I
have.
move this, Calissa, back a little bit?
Sure, just as long as I don't come unplugged. But when it was discussed, I believe that you proportioned it out to like a quarter of a year for 3 months, because the thought process was that you have a 1-year warranty, and by the time that all kicked in, that would last through maybe 9 months of 2023.
Right.
And so you'd sign a contract and you'd have it for 3 months, and then it included the lawn care of 15,000 for
The
full
rest
year.
of the year.
Well, that would be for the full year next year.
I don't see how that's possible. The 15,000 to mow that lawn for a full year, I don't see how that's possible. And I've heard those same discussions too.
Well, I'm just going by the numbers that are in here.
Right, but,
Proposal.
yeah, just sharing, because it was a challenge to get a quote on it.
And why isn't our maintenance people mowing it?
Why are they not mowing it? We don't have the manpower to do it. I mean, it's gonna be, I say this anecdotally, it's gonna be, if we have one employee riding a mower, they're gonna spend 20 hours of their work week, in that work week, mowing grass.
At the jail? Huh?
Oh, yeah,
20 hours to mow the jail?
in a week. I mean, over the week period, yeah, because that grass is gonna keep growing. I mean,
How many acres was we talking about?
I'm not sure. But you got all the landscaping that was put in there, the grasses, the mulching and stuff. I'm looking up some notes here. If I can find it. Landscape maintenance. So maintenance stops on trees, shrubs, ground cover, and any other plants. That stops August 22nd. Grass cutting stopped July 22nd. It's our responsibility after those dates. As far as frequency, I do not have that in this email.
And you don't know how many acres you're talking about mowing?
I don't.
Ballpark?
I have to go on, and you,
How much of it is the building now and the concrete?
it's not just the front, it's the back. You got that big open field back in there.
But there was 15 total to start with. How much of it is concrete building?
I'm not sure. We have to get RFPs on that, and these discussions came up. What I suggested that we do is buy 2 mowers through the money that we have left over, and have our maintenance guys do that, and then see if we can do it. But I know what's gonna happen. It's gonna make it tight on our staffing. So then we're gonna be approaching the council saying we need another FTE. Now, we can always hire a part-time person to do mowing in the season, but the key is, who are you gonna find to do that? You know, building maintenance has not building maintenance, building inspection has a hard time getting people to do stuff. Parks has a hard time. Those opportunities just aren't out there. I still wanna see 2 dedicated full-time maintenance people at the jail. Not at the same time, but, you know, a shift and a shift. If we can do that, and if we spend $35,000, $40,000 on 2 mowers, I think we're good.
Two full-time people and 35,000 a mower.
But the problem with the mowers is, you buy the mowers, and then you got the maintenance on them. And then here comes part 2. Where are we gonna store them? So when we built the jail, there's enough room to store 1 good-sized mower. But if you do 2, and then you do your weed eater and your gas and stuff, you're building a pole barn.
If you only have 2 employees and they're on different shifts, you wouldn't need 2.
So we need what?
You wouldn't need 2 mowers.
One
Well, not
one
if they're on
breaks
different
down.
shifts.
Let me,
I'm
and when we're talking about that property, are we talking about all of that used to be the golf course?
no,
Talking
the front
about-
part, no.
Who maintains that?
I would assume Cult Ventures.
Okay. So we're just talking about the land in the back.
So our property's 22 acres.
Yes, sir.
Oh, county one. They're in a straight line out there except for that back strip. And you have those hills, you have the
Chris Schweizer's calling you.
Chris is back. Should I? So are you calling because we're talking about this thing? Oh, I'm in the budget.
Tell me you're on speaker.
Yeah, you're on speaker with everybody, so can I just call you back if that's not what this is about? Thanks. He's listening. So, that's asphalt. There's asphalt there, but it's not gonna be easy.
I text our GIS department, asked them what was the acreage minus the building.
Regardless.
I think you wanna do it.
I think that's.
Yeah,
David
Yeah.
loves to cut grass.
take
Our
two
house
shifts.
was predicted, there was fluff, but in case we were wrong, not as far as the traffic. I'm sorry, as far as the company, as far as full tank.
I don't think at the time there was a company that was
There wasn't,
talked about.
you know. I think we,
I agree.
We've been talking to companies.
They should be.
They should be, yeah, that's right.
I think they were not allowed to have machines like that.
they have meat slicers in there.
Well,
True. That's true, the kitchen.
all right, so,
One other question then on electricity. Per Duke, electricity went up 16%. So from the 2021 budget of 550, I think we increased the 2022 budget to 700,000 because there was a period of time that I think we anticipated operating two buildings at the same time, so we increased the electricity for that. But if Duke increases 16% from the 700,000, we're at 812, but the ask is 840.
We anticipated having the new jail occupied in June.
So I'm assuming that I agree, that, I mean, so I'm thinking
And
that
then the other building just lights off.
okay, the 700,000 from the 550 the previous year, I think was in anticipation of possibly having two. That was the reasoning behind increasing it from 550 to 700. And that's cool, because that's what it is. But if you take the $700,000 budget, which at this point you've spent 313, 233, you might spend the whole, I don't know if you'll spend the whole 700,000. But if you add 16% to that 700,000, you're at 812.
So this is where I'm in an awkward spot, but you know, I talk a lot, right? So I'll go ahead and share this. When the new jail was discussed, the spin was this new building is going to save us a lot of money because it's going to be lower utilities, all kinds of stuff. And I said, absolutely not. You're tripling the size. It's going to go up. Oh, Brendan, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, this is my shining moment. We're looking at a possible $30,000 a month electric bill alone. We don't know what the water bill is going to be. Now, we do know that there's water saving features in this new facility. That's fine. But when you're going for a facility that's going to potentially increase by 200 people, it doesn't matter because your cost carries with that extra person. So your utilities are going to be so much higher.
Well, this actually, I do understand that this, your electricity line item doesn't just pertain to the jail. It's all the buildings. So, I mean, I was just using that as an example.
No, you're
One
right on the
reason why
money.
I knew that you went from 550 to 700. My question is the 700 to 840, when Duke Energy says that electricity across the board anticipate a 16% increase. That's 700 to 840 is more than 16%, that's all I'm trying to say.
So let me try to track this properly because this has been stuck in my head for a long time. And I'm going to try to, anybody correct me if I'm wrong. Duke Energy came to us 3 years ago. We had a hearing at South High School where they were going to the Indiana Regulatory Commission for a 16 or 18% increase. And I think the state did 16% over 5 years, 6 years. Does this sound right? Do you guys recall this? I'm going to be off a little bit, but I keep looking at Howard. But then they recently went and says, hey, this isn't working, we need an additional 18%. So you look at that gradual increase in the rates that the IRC approved 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and then this last year, they did an additional 18%. Am I tracking properly?
16.2.
16.2. So that's 32%.
But for another set, yeah.
Right. So, I mean, we're getting hosed. Well, yeah, I mean, we're getting hosed. So if we were doing $500,000 a year with electricity, which is asinine, and you got another 30% on top, you're at your $850,000 mark. Am I right? $650,000. You're at $650,000, $700,000. So yeah, we're there. Water is not going up. Our utilities, we're not seeing big increases there. You know, the sewer, you can. Sewage, you definitely can. That's not paid off yet. We're going to have a big sewer bill, even though we're right next door to the sewer plant. We're not going to get a discount because we're right next door, I don't think. We've actually already tried that. But yeah, we're going to get hammered with utility costs. It's shocking to see these numbers that we're asking for. And I said earlier about the conservative approach, but the amount that we are all paying, you know, just the food cost for the jail is going to be enormous.
Okay, one other question that I had was about the telephone. Where's telephone? It looks like 36,000 a year, 33,000 a month for the telephone, and it went from 100,000 to $150,000 ask. Fine, what is it
$36,000 a month,
here? A year.
or $36,000 a year for the jail.
Does that also include the internet line?
I'm assuming so.
Because we did a dedicated line to the jail with Joint cut us an at-cost price. I don't want to throw a number out there, but whatever that number that you're seeing is, that includes that number, which results into the big increase. I want to say $30,000 increase. So they ate the installation. They ran what they call dark fiber on top of the current fiber for future uses, if we need to expand it. But that is an at cost. They did that kind of as being the community internet provider. We had another quote for it, and I think it was 3 or 4 times as much. I would have to pull that to give you accurate information.
So 3,000 a month was 36,000 for phone, and then an additional 30,000 to joint?
Is that what it says? I'm not sure.
Or I mean, is
No,
that-
I'm just trying to
No,
remember
just
why there's a big
36,000.
increase.
I think that includes, I'm assuming that includes phone and internet, because they don't have a separate internet utility going
No.
on.
So the 36,000 should be inclusive of all of that?
It may be 2 different things.
But
Is
I'm
there a line-
assuming it's really telephone and internet.
Well, I don't know that this is, we're just on the commissioner's budget, so it includes all the phones, right?
Yes, but 36,000 of it is for
The jail.
that jail.
Okay, so I guess,
So because they were at 100,000, and they're saying now they need 150, and 36,000 of that increase is for that new facility.
So you're saying what'd you say, 50,000?
Well, 36,000, but they increased it by 50,000.
550, okay.
no, they,
Yeah. Well, we all agree on
they
that.
increased it.
So instead of going to 136, they went to 150.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're anticipating an increase in telephone bill. We're taking away our faxes, so.
136, and then postage.
The commissioning is not finished,
It is not.
but it is progressing well.
Commissioning, which is that's the date that the warranties will start, is when, once commissioned. The commissioning is complete, then that's the date the warranties will start.
I just, oh, no.
You
Want
killed
mine?
it.
I should have just left it on. I'm gonna use Vicky's. Advertising,
That's legal notices.
okay, those are the legal notices, okay. And then we talked about that professional, so contractual was like the upkeep and the services and things for the building, so on. Professional, that's where RJL and another company came in.
Yeah, that should be 40 and 12, so 52,000. I guess
Okay.
it could be 60, but
Okay,
we paid.
Wait, that was professional services?
that's under professional services, so 37,850.
And that, okay, 60,000 was RJL and 15 was somebody else, okay. But who was the somebody else?
I just,
Oh, that's professional, that was under contract, right?
Professional.
Professional.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Okay, I think that's it, that I can tell.
How many soldiers are you burying?
I would guess probably more now. Brendan, did you hear that?
Why?
Because as the, I mean,
Soldiers? How many
I
soldiers
just
are you
know it,
burying?
like Arlington, it's gone up.
because of the age.
The aging, the World War II generation's dying at a higher rate now.
Well, if it's Vietnam, if
Yeah,
it's
so
Korea,
on, all
it's
those.
it's any honorably discharged person.
Yeah,
And it's
'cause
$100, which I ask.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, and
Headstones.
and if you want to raise it, we can raise it.
I just know like in Arlington, it's gotten so, like when they used to do the tours, they used to let you get through, now they're doing 30, 40 burials a day. You
Yeah,
can't
it's-
do the tours.
It's increasing.
We asked them about it.
No.
I thought, and I actually thought that we increased that, but Cheryl told me no. Is it 12.5 or something?
It's
How
12.
much is it? 12,000.
Yeah, but like, last year you spent 8,300, 20 you spent 7,000, 19, 7,600, 18, 10,009.
Well, let's be realistic. 1,200 soldiers are not going to die in Vigo County next year. So if there's something to adjust, there you go. Make it 7,000, make it 8,000. You're saving yourself $4,000. I hope we're not going to have 1,200 pass. But if you want to increase the amount to $200, I mean, well, what's $100 going to get you on a death expense? If anybody's been involved with one of those lately, you know that's absolutely not, like, my dad, when he passed, I didn't even do the form. I didn't pay his bills either as my stepmom, but I mean, for $100, I'm not doing it. Which I should, that's not a
Usually
flippant
the
comment,
funeral
it's
home
just,
takes care of it.
yeah.
Examination of records, what does that involve?
Isn't that a project we have going on right now?
That is for State Board of Accounts. for
We have to pay
auditing
their
the county.
expenses.
Or do you take that out of DWA now?
Well,
Because I know
most of
there's,
it, I try to adjust it at the end based on how much because most of the time it's more than what we put in.
yeah, but
Last-
I want to, did I not
The last time
see?
anything was expended was 2019, that was
And I
$5,000.
adjusted it, the last couple of years I didn't adjust it, because we have to pay that bill no matter what,
And you have the ability to take it out.
and you have the
disperse it
ability
out.
to just DWA it. Because we actually pay for everybody that's audited, and then during settlement,
But does it have to say the 20,000? Is that,
that's just the amount was put in there. I can tell you our audits are running anywhere from 35 to 40.
You'd probably be better off to zero, let them pay them out of DWA,
yeah. that's
and not
something
even
else.
worry about
Okay.
adjusting it.
It's just all
Back in it.
been in there.
Because they can
so-
only pay that with DWA, they can't transfer it out if they have money left over. Which they're the king of transfer.
Okay, what else?
I would ask about postage.
That was on my list too. Yeah, postage.
Did it go up?
Well-
Why does it need to be 250,000?
Machine leases, I think. Do you recall that, Cheryl? We did a contract for new machines. They were expensive.
No, it's like it,
What was it?
Well, it was
last,
150 last year, 250 this year, but you spent 7,631 this year.
I mean, I think. they
Election
probably-
years are always higher.
But they probably have a bill coming that's sitting there ready to
Yeah,
pay.
so
Because
there's-
what it is they
We
probably
contract them.
paid out at the end of the year a lot of postage, and then they put it on the machine, and then they use it, and then it,
We had to get new machines this year too. Our other machine company, they were crazy.
What'd you pay for those out of?
I think we're paying them back. We didn't pay for it. We pay a service for it,
Well, it's like.
or a mail service.
Okay, like in 2018, the budget was 250,000. You spent 124. In 2019, the budget was 250. You paid 89,660. In 2020, budget was 250. You paid 163,768. In 2021, 150,000. You paid 172. So that's probably why you increased it a little bit. But I'm not sure why in 2021.
200 grand and call it a day.
And then.
Sold.
250,000, I'm thinking 150.
Yeah, I'd say by
Go back to-
listening to you, Brenda, on that one, definitely, it sounds like we should probably adjust it down. That was for the machines then?
In 2021.
But I don't recall, I have to look at the contract, Cheryl. I'm not sure if that is an annual payment or if that was the total. I don't recall. I just remember sticker shock.
Yeah. I'm saying 150.
Because we have one machine in this building and one in the courthouse, if I recall right. Now, postage did go up, right, to 50-something cents a letter, stamp?
I think so.
But if.
I don't know what it is, but it did go up.
Yeah.
it's going up 12% from, that's what it says, something like that. They have
I don't know if
12%
we
It will be going up
Around,
12%.
right?
or something like that.
So if we're at 180
I
at
looked it up
12%,
at
we're
one
at 200,000. I'd say 200,000, you're very safe, and I apologize for making it 250.
I mean, this year we spent. Right. Yeah. More than. Advertising. And where are you gonna travel to?
I'm not traveling anywhere. And if you look at my credit card statements, you know that I don't do that. There's a conference that is in September, it's a county official conference. I don't know if it's the same one you guys go to or not. It's in South
yeah.
Bend.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if I'm going or not, but there's going to be our travel budget
Well,
probably for the year.
This is, we're talking about next year.
Well, I'm just illustrating that for like next year.
Probably
Yeah, none of us really travel.
Let's say keep it.
And then we use our county vehicles, so we're not reimbursed for mileage or anything. And actually, I don't think I drove my county, I think I drove first. I think my bicycle's with me.
What official meetings do you attend?
What's the amount of money on that one?
2,000.
But it went up to
Well, you're asking for 5.
Well, this guy doesn't, but somebody else in the commissioner's office may go to a lot of meetings in Indianapolis.
because this year they've only spent, what, 258?
Yep. Service agreement.
How much is that one, Brenda?
35,000.
3,500?
And, okay, it's been 35,000 for a significant amount of time, and you've never broken 20,000.
Let's drop her. Bet her down.
Yep.
I can't think of anything that we're gonna add for next year.
To make that 20.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me ask Calissa.
So,
Calissa?
is there anything here that can go to a different account?
Well-
Funding source, excuse me.
If you go back to the contractual services,
Yeah.
let me find my, I've changed pages.
33,
Oh, there it is.
300.
Yeah, 33,300.
So what would be out of contractual or contractual services, there's, what applies to the jail could be used for correctional rehab, if you want to do that, so.
And how much do we have left in the correctional rehab that we just moved a bunch of stuff to?
That was public safety.
Oh, yeah.
So you still have a pretty good chunk for correctional.
We could move, is that
So,
the, can you move that whole amount?
Yeah.
I don't know that it all applies to jail. So
I think you could leave
originally it's
100.
9,500, which they said is Jeff Dossett, so you could leave that, but then the rest of it is maintenance of the building and maintenance of the lawn.
I
For
see.
the jail,
I
correct?
would say you could at least move 125. Not
So what are you saying, 125 total,
We can move that much.
or? So are you wanting to leave it at 9,500 in the commissioner's budget for the Dossett consulting? And what's above that, move it to a determined amount?
He says. Contractual.
Mm-hmm. 125. Oh, total?
Because that includes the 9,500.
Okay.
Get 9,500 here, right?
Yes. All right.
Again, the only thing I'm gonna caution you about is the sunset date.
Yeah. Well, the 9,500, tell me again, is for Dossett, and that's not necessarily
It
correctional
has
rehab.
nothing to do with jail.
That's, okay, so we leave 9,500 here and then move.
You think that's going to be? For the
It's
services.
been 100,000 plus that.
Okay. And we're moving it to correctional.
Rehab.
The remainder or a different amount?
115.
150.
115 total for both lawn and building?
Yes.
Moving it to a different department.
Correctional rehab.
That's not us.
Well, it's the lit,
It's
it's,
lit correctional rehab.
you guys would have to probably still pay the bill.
That's what I'm getting at.
But
Yeah.
it'd be a different fund,
Different fund, still commissioner's responsibility.
yes.
Yay. You sure you don't want to switch that?
Yeah.
Now, the other thing is if you want to allocate, your utilities out, what you think may be attributable, like 36,000 for the phone. If they have numbers for those, you can definitely
Oh,
allocate
like the jail phones.
the jail phones. If they're saying utilities is 25 to 30,000 a month.
For phones.
Electricity or phone?
What about the new jail? I think are you talking about electricity or? Yeah, okay.
But it was 10,000.
It was 13.7,
It's that much.
but the thing of it is, you remember those really hot days?
So it was 31,000.
Remember we had those really hot days? I mean, check your
My house,
electric
my old
bill.
home. Mm-mm.
Yeah, it went up.
gotta let us,
So if you wanted to say 30,000 a month, you could move 360 out to correctional rehab.
Can we go back to travel for a second? I have updated information.
You need to wait a minute.
Oh, wait a minute. Thank you.
We'll get back to you.
Thank you, I'll be here.
Don't distract us. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
contractual service, but
Full.
maybe 9,500 a year.
Gotcha. But I think they said 115. And that is put commissioners, building lawn.
If we put 35, don't put,
Yeah, but that's what it was. That's what I had, 47.5, but I think it's because they portioned it out for the amount they thought they would need
See, like the regular
for the year. I don't know.
Yeah.
sorry, I went.
It was, 'cause
back
we
up
had
to
the same
top.
number.
Forgot that.
We have the same
Oh,
number.
there it is. Okay, got it.
Yep, down to 50.
How much do they usually?
So,
No, not
let
much,
me
yeah.
ask you this on the contractual services, just so we're all on the same page. The 15,000 for the lawn and 100,000 for the building?
Both to
Yes.
correctional rehab.
Now, you're funding a full year. That's all I need to know, yes or no. Because when we originally talked about it, we talked about 47.5. So, because it was apportioned out for the remainder of the year.
Right.
So,
Well, yeah, because, well, and that 100,000 that we talked about, okay, yeah, 47.5 was because once it's commissioned, we have only that last portion of the year that we might have to, deal with.
For this year.
no, it's for next,
It-
it'll be commissioned, you
No,
got a
it'll be
year
for
after the
next year,
commission.
But it'll
because it'll
still
be a
start to
year.
roll over though, yeah, I mean, January 1st
No,
it'll-
but like when you commission this
When
year,
you
they said it's a year from that commission date.
for the warranty work.
Yes, and so it's under,
Okay. We're gonna move forward with doing an RFP ASAP, throw out a bunch of acronyms.
PDQ.
What was that, PDQ?
Yeah.
So, because of this eye opener, we cannot rely on that. We can't rely on a technician come from Indianapolis to fix that when the jail's getting 90 degrees. It ain't gonna happen. So we need to do our own contingency plan, egg on our face, whatever. We have to be smart and proactive in this. So we're gonna do the RFP as soon as we possibly can. We're gonna have to.
Well, we were pretty much taking his suggestion of 100,000 rather than the 47 that we were talking about.
Chris and I are talking now, I really think 100,000 is too conservative. But 100,000 gets us out of the gate, and then that will be before you in probably October
October of what year?
next year. I don't know, and I say this just based off the way things are trending right now. Absolutely unknown. You're exactly right.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Just never.
What we thought at the time was a fluff or a buffer zone. Think about this. The diesel fuel alone for those 3 generators, I forget what the gallons is, but $60,000 for the original fill-up at $3 a gallon? So I guess we can do the math real quick and figure out how many gallons are in there. This last week, the cheapest diesel I got was $4.99 a gallon, the highest was $5.89. We did not think about this. Nobody bid. And we gotta test those generators annually. We test them weekly, but we have to do a test, a big test annually,
Sure.
3 of them. And I think I'm walked out of my office.
I see the humor in that.
It is funny. It's happened before. I don't have my badge with me. You have yours? Okay. Can you get through there? I can't get in your office now. I got locked.
Will your badge get him into his office?
Should.
I don't,
Do you have a master key?
they took away our keys, we don't have keys anymore.
You don't have keys anymore.
Only to our door, because
Well-
that's a badge entry into the door now.
We could go outside of the building and then come in. 'Cause that's how I get locked in.
Because she has to, they've have to have given her permission to that door.
So that puts it
I haven't either, but I'm
one
assuming that
twenty-five
doesn't work
in
on it.
contractual
I think it's only,
or correctional fee.
Correctional rehab, I believe 9,500.
might be those down there and down there, but I don't know about over there.
Okay, 125
In correctional,
in correctional rehab,
For, in contractual services,
right?
yes,
125,
and we'll leave 9,500 in the
okay.
commissioner. Okay, are we good on all the others?
I don't,
Yeah.
did you wanna do anything with your other ones?
Fish feed, two.
With
For
other
utilities?
Agreements, 20.
Don't know, we're moving it. So,
Do you get separate bills for like the new sheriff's office? Cheryl, do they get separate bills for the new jail building? Yeah, it's not like lumped in with,
For the utility.
For like
For utilities
electricity,
and
or
things like that.
it's just one big
Gas.
lump.
okay.
So we could separate out electricity, gas, water, fuel, and oil, solid waste, food disposal, just for jail versus everything else. Well, we were just. We were
But-
just trying to consider moving it out of general fund into correctional rehab, just the jail portion of the utility.
Does that complicate things for people? But it sounds like they're broken down by address anyhow, right?
Well, I think you just have to take an average, or like if like the last month was 30,000. Yeah,
Should we maybe just keep it the same this year and do that next year, once we get a track record of how much their utilities are?
well, I'm thinking,
I was gonna say, then yet they come back with.
So my question would be, the electricity is 840, if we kept it at 840, and you keep 500 in the commissioners, and you move 340, and then at the end of the year, they use 400, does that mess you up on?
Back for appropriation.
but it would be no different than if they ran out of money in the commissioner's budget.
Yeah.
Like these. Other, well,
Like, there's nothing that would stop that.
Percentage with those, or is it complicated?
I would,
If they had a monthly payment, it would be easy.
I mean, I would probably put 360 in correctional rehab, because I think that's gonna be your most expensive buildings. And if you want to do 500 or 480 out of the other one, then
what are you talking about, utilities, or? I
Or
mean,
the
what's utility?
electricity.
Electricity?
because, you know, if the hottest month is $30,000, you know, probably April, May, June are gonna be less. You might get cold months in February or March. Well, yeah, I don't know
So
how
what were
efficient,
you
I don't know
saying?
how
How
efficient their heat
Are
is.
you talking about dividing it?
If you, like, if they're saying it was $30,000 a month for the hot month, if we said.
Unoccupied,
Well, true, but we have to start somewhere.
right,
Are you still air conditioned, are their lights still on?
yep.
I mean, so other than.
But no TVs, kitchen's not running, ovens aren't running, you know, just think about that,
But,
man.
but you also had one that was $19,000 a month unoccupied. So
Yeah, it's
I'm
gonna,
just thinking just to average it out. If nothing else, you adjust it later. We can adjust it later.
Yeah.
But, you know, you pick a number, say 360. If you wanna go to 400, I don't care. Go to 400 for utilities or for electricity, and then pick them out for, which I would say would probably be somewhere around the 500,000 mark for the general fund.
If you take, if they're starting with 840,
Well, if
And you
he's
take
saying it's
400 and
$30,000 in a hot month, but it's unoccupied jail-wise, there are sheriff's department in there, but not jail. And maybe it's gonna be $35,000, maybe it's gonna be 40, but
you're gonna have an additional 30 employees plus 400 inmates
Well, we could-
moving in.
to limit their teeth.
It's fine.
Get LED ones, they don't cost much.
I found, I
There's
couldn't find the format you
All
guys
the
were
lights
using.
in are LED, you know that? Every single one.
They're efficient.
I don't know,
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it?
Ready?
You go for it, Brenda.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. Okay, I'm gonna move that we approve the Commissioner 0068 budget, twos, threes, and fours, with the following exceptions. Line 24,400 gasoline goes to 5,000. 30050 postage, 175,000. 30100 telephone, 136,000. 30700 legal services, 50,000. 31600 Humane Society, 50,000. 32200 burial of soldiers, 7,000. 32820 examination of records, 0, with the understanding it goes to DWA. 33300 contractual services goes to 9,500 with the total amount, okay, yes, to 9,500 with 125,000 moving to correctional rehab. And line 33,700 electricity, changing to 420,000 with 400,000 moving to correctional rehab. Line 35,300 advertising goes to 15,000. 37,200 travel expenses, 2,000. 37,600 official meetings, 2,000. 39,200 service agreements, 20,000.
Was that service, 2,000, 20,000?
Service agreements, 20,000. Official meetings, but 2,000. portion of it, a portion of electricity. Yeah.
Okay, any questions before I second? I second it. Yep, I put it all on my new one. Much better.
All right, a motion and a second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
your input.
helping.
We're gonna spend it all in one place.
Have fun. Knock yourself out.
Commissioners, last one for your meeting?
Nope.
Who else you got?
Council's next.
Okay.
0061.
Prove it all. What I'm getting at is, do you need me for anything else?
No.
No.
I don't,
You're pretty
okay,
good,
I have
sir.
an obligation. I may be
Wonderful.
coming in for one of your badges though here in a minute. Thank you.
Thank you. County Council, 0061.
Can I, one more thing, make sure that we're all on the same page. The Hamilton donation in your book, it may have said 713,000, but it's really 714,906.
It says 714,906 on this spreadsheet,
Okay, I just wanna make sure that,
Yeah, whatever the state formula is
the one
fine.
that Cheryl
okay,
provided
I
her.
just wanna make sure that there's no confusion.
Fabulous. That helps tremendously when she first got in here. Gosh.
Okay. Council.
All right.
Cheryl, did you get all yours in there? Did you get all yours in there? My total without any payroll was 3457906.
Does one of them say adult probation on top of all of them?
Oh, okay,
Why did we jump?
that's fine, I just wanted to make sure our numbers matched up.
Well,
We'll check that out later. Okay, council.
Yep. We're down to the,
If you, when you guys are looking through that, the third page has the 5-year plan for 23 through 27. There are really 3 changes. One was the personnel classification for Baker Tilly, looking at an annual cost of $20,000. And in 27, projecting out that there'll be time to do a reboot, reclassification, so it might be 60,000, just to kind of give you a general idea where it'd be at. Legal services, increase that, based on a calculation of 120 hours at $175 per hour. And that is comparable to the rate charged by the county attorneys. And what that is if there's a lawsuit that falls outside of the standard legal services for the county council attorney, that would be available. And case in point would be the jail lawsuit. And then the last thing would be a budget program that looks at the first year cost with setup and service agreement would be $43,600, and after that it's an annual cost of $36,400. I know I'd sent you earlier links to other municipalities or counties that use that system that they were looking at, and this is one that is supported by NACO, and AIC is also looking at it. But it has a robust payroll module that you can enter in payroll tables for the pay plan. And it'll, look, if you're a grade 7 in this plan, boom, here's what the next year rate is. So it'll calculate that, it's very robust. Then there's transparency feature in it because it You can generate a book out from everything that's entered. It goes directly to your website. It's out there for the public to look at and see. You can put any narrative you want with that. It'll give you graphs that shows how much of your property tax dollars go here. So it's just a lot of different information they have the ability to look at. And one of the features that I like in this is it has an audit trail. So you're looking at it and it's all through web-based, and you have a question for the health department. Type in your question for the health department, message was sent on this day. When they respond through that. So then you know what the answer was, and then if you have more clarification, keep going. But it's an audit trail to keep track of some conversations that you have during the budget season, which, after a while that gets a little, so, but you guys would be able to look at it live.
It's also very user-friendly for the public too, as I understand. They can go in and it even has a place where you can say, put in your address or your property tax amount, and it will break down where to the penny, where your tax dollars go, which is fabulous for transparency.
Yeah. There's some different features of it. It's nice. It's the ability, the departments can enter their budget in there, the ability to export that information to Gateway. Would have access to the same
Yeah,
budget
yeah.
system. So, and then you can do exports, so. But,
It's
I mean,
very streamlined.
I think it would make you guys' life a lot easier, because they're responsible for entering that, and so. That's kind of some of the features that we saw in it. I did reach out to them and ask them, and I think it's still a possibility if we can, since we would be we would possibly be one of the first municipalities or counties to use it in the state of Indiana, there would be a discount for that. And I do not have a response yet, but I think it's a possibility. So, because a representative from NACO keeps in contact with me to see where we're at with it. So, but if you get a chance, if you haven't looked at some of those websites already that I sent, you may want to. Or if you want to set up a time to go through a webinar with them, they'll go through it.
And I think something that would appeal to you is the graphs and pie charts and.
No, I like that. I
different
like
ways
the
that you
public access, because when you access stuff now, it's impossible,
Yeah.
so.
It is nice as far as that, I mean, that it's out there for the public right away. It'd be out there for Howard or anybody else who wants to look
Yeah.
at it.
I have very question for close that part. I have a question for.
Did we, so I'm sorry, I was organizing some stuff, so is that already considered into this budget, or is that, will
It's
that be an
the request.
appropriation next year?
No, it's in the budget request.
Okay.
So it's in the
Under
budget request.
contractual,
33,
You'll notice
43.
another big number is group insurance,
Uh-huh.
and I increased that because we have the possibility of 5 new council members next year. I don't know what their insurance coverage is gonna be.
sure.
And then legal services, why is it 48,750? Because the jail still being.
Well,
active?
it may not necessarily be the jail, but if there are lawsuits, which it seems we have lawsuits more often that the council's named in them, there's been a little bit concerned that some of the council members don't feel like they're real well represented.
So it jumped 20, the
Yes,
budget
if you look,
jumped
it's
20,000.
It's based on 120 hours at $175 an hour. So I checked with the commissioner's office to find out what we're paying our our county attorneys, because they are, hourly.
Well, okay, that's 21,000.
The rest of it is what we,
That's why you increased from the 27.5. You
yeah,
increased
I
it
might
by
have got an extra 250 in there, I don't know what I did. I might have done that, looks like, because it's 27.5, and it should be plus 21, so it should be 48.5, and I got 48,750. Somebody might have got fat figured.
Going back to the contractual services, will that be an every year thing, or will that be
30.
the,
36.4 is every year, the 43.6 is 1 year.
okay,
Like a $7,200 initial fee to get it going, I think, initial setup.
And then also with travel and education and counseling, again, 5 new council members, if we were to get 5 new council members, they were going to different trainings and things like that, we would have to be prepared, but traditionally, we do not spend that, but with turnover like we've had recently, in the last 5-6 years, it seems like.
I'm good with them. I know, just in general from being on it, and I know Brenda was aware last year, we cut it pretty thin, on it, so I think it's still a pretty strong budget. I'm not concerned about really anything I'm seeing.
What is it, with the professional services, there's no other $44,744,
I was in 2021 adopted.
2022, spent this year, with no,
So the personnel professional, because we won't have anything in 23, so in 24, it would kick in. Because we would go through a year where you would not have any classification changes and things like that, just to get everything settled in.
so we've paid $44,744 to Baker Tilly for, is that who the
So
professional
far,
services?
yes.
Okay, so that's what that was.
That's Baker Tilly.
But then would not request anything for that for calendar year of 23. We'd get through that, and then in 24, we would start the process of reclassificate. You're looking at whatever it ends up being. If it ends up we're doing this third, third this year, third, however those are broken up, whether it's by department, whether it's by grades, however, then you would go through a process where you cycle those through and then potentially look at a major overhaul. So that you can keep them current and address any changes. And that was per the recommendation of Baker Tilly.
Service agreements, I'm assuming, copier, printer.
Copier, it's the copier and any overages. Apparently, I'm the oddball that does not apply it to print.
Okay. I'll make a motion, this one needs one. I make a motion to approve, the county council budget, as presented, with Jesus, grace, and force. Which one did we change down?
Legal services,
You wanna take that to-
700
Oh,
to 48.5.
sorry.
Okay,
I wrote it down, legal services to 48.5.
I'll second that.
All right. A motion and a second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Visiting reassessment.
So basically I have, let me find my schedule, it's buried in here. gave it to Vicky, that's why I can't find it.
Is it just something little?
Let me see if I put one of those in my book. Otherwise, I gave it to Vicky. That was just kind of go through some of them, if there's anything you want to shift around. We still can have some wiggle room to do that. So that was the whole intent of that.
Let's see.
Yeah, like the
Yeah,
second one.
I
The
definitely
second
gave
one
it to
is
Vicky.
yellow. Actually, first one in yellow.
So,
The first one.
so that's what really all of those are for. If there's anything else that you've found along the way, or if we need to shift things, we could shift that. We've pretty much, reassessment, I feel like you probably have done most of that. County auditor, we've done that. The clerk perpetuation, new clerk, those may be potentials. And some of these may even be with payroll. So like the new clerk or reassessment, maybe not fund a position out there, but maybe reimburse the general fund for a position or part of a position. Cume cap development, that is one that in 2022, it's a debt, it's what we use to pay debt. However, that debt will be retired. And so in 2023, we will still have that tax rate and fund, and we can use that for capital. It's called Cume Capital Development, so it needs to be capital projects. That if there were ever, well, I mean, let's say you were going to do the front of the building and you weren't planning on wanting to use ARPA funds. That would be a potential funding source for a big project like that.
And
you're
there's
looking
500, oh, wait a minute.
For Cume Capital Development.
And there's 500 in, that 500,000 in there, that's the request right now.
Yeah, that's what we advertised it at, was 500,000. And it has more than 45,826, that's in miscellaneous revenue, because it depends on what the tax rate you set at to determine what your actual revenue, that's why those are highlighted. But normally, it was right around $500,000 is what you would receive in revenue in property taxes. So that's a fund that we can look at. And correctional rehab, we've been working on that. Public safety, worked on that. Juvenile Justice Center non-reverting, if there's anything else we want to look at adjusting from the general fund to that. Infraction deferral is a possibility. Supplemental PD, that one's a little iffy. I do believe we shifted something already. Recorder fund, recorder perpetuation. I don't know if there's not much in the surveyors, but it's just thrown out there. And then, of course, we need to finish up with drug court. And then the last thing is we're gonna do payroll at some point.
Payroll last.
You haven't made it through all the way, but these are ones that I have something on edit. But I don't know if they actually do what? No, we may not have finished. It's a work in progress. Yeah, I don't have anything either, so we'll have to go back. It's kind of, probably that's another one we need to look at for anything that. But in our earlier discussions, I'd said that I would try to provide you with a list of funds that you could use to take pressure off of the general fund, so, or the property tax levy fund. I missed any, Cheryl, that you can think of? Other than we need to finish up edit? Well, one of the things with lit correctional rehab that for which one?
Which one is that?
Yeah, they haven't, but I wanna, we have had discussions about potentially changing how that works so that community corrections takes care of it and we reimburse community corrections. And Cheryl, you and I had a conversation about that for the salaries and really any of the things they have in there that are the supplies or, I guess, was that the only one? Because they used to have contractual services in there. But let me see if I got a response. 'Cause I was waiting on one response. I don't see a response. But I want to say that was around, I think it was around 700,000, and that would include everything. But I can double check on that. It's either 700 or 720. So we would eliminate some lines in the correctional rehab. So you would eliminate payroll, Social Security, perf, group insurance, the other supplies, 100,000, you'd eliminate that, and then, was it there, or was that not put in there at all, Cheryl, the 284, 382? Yeah. Oh, I'm in the right one. For 2023, wasn't, because it's in, I thought I put it in the folder. Right, I gave,
I don't have a community.
no, I don't
corrections.
mean this folder, I mean, in the network folder, or I emailed it or something.
So we don't have a.
But it was
community
140,000 for the nurse practitioner and 144,382 for psychologist. So what we're looking at is taking all of that, instead of it being in multiple lines, there would be a reimbursement to community corrections or whatever account we determine, put in one lump sum, and then we pay them for the services. And they manage it instead of running their claim, they do their claims as one payment to us.
Yeah, we did
I
that.
think it's around 700,000.
How do we make a motion, or how do we
Well, when
cover
we get
that?
ready to, when you go to that, we can. So if you go to your budget page.
For,
Yeah. So you would eliminate,
hang on, let's catch up here, okay.
Budget page numbers.
For what?
correctional rehab.
What do we have? Okay.
Here's that pin. It's almost all the
like
way
the
to the back.
third
It's like
from the
3
back.
from the back.
Okay.
Are you there? It's right before public safety. You don't have,
I don't have any.
what were you looking at before?
You don't have it either?
Give it that either.
1233.
When we were doing that earlier? Were you making notes somewhere?
I had it,
We,
yeah.
Or were you looking
got
at
it.
this?
I was probably looking at the.
they were looking at this
Oh,
instead of the one that's in the book.
So I don't think they have
I
the
don't know
page
why.
in the book.
It was one that was
I, I may know for some. I think Karen.
about like four.
No, it's in its own fund, it's 1233. Oh, I feel like was that only general fund? I don't know, I'd have to look.
That was one of those days.
Those are all just general fund, but I don't know what you guys were looking at earlier.
And the,
Here, I'll look at it.
Which line were we looking at?
Okay, so are you guys ready?
Yeah,
Yes.
I can look at it.
Okay, so payroll, you had set to 0, because that's part of the dual diagnosis. Social Security, 0, PERF, 0, group insurance, 0. Other supplies would stay, well, other supplies, whatever you determine, that's not part of this one. I guess it is, so where do we put the 6,000? Was that in public safety? Okay, so other supplies would be 0. Supplement to drug court would be to be determined. Care of patients and inmates, would put that at 400,000. Contractual services, 125, we've already done that.
wait a minute,
125.
okay, we're adding 125.
Well,
It's total.
team to 125. That's for what was in the commissioner's budget for lawn and,
Okay. So that's changed to 125.
yes. The equipment would be at 0. Locks, video, and audio at 0. We added electricity line. I don't have the account number. We're gonna write it down for 400,000. And then you would need some sort of, for now, we can say a supplement to community corrections until if there's a better title. I believe we can do that at 700,000. Mm-hmm. Well, you had the 284, 382, you had that in there, and then you had the 100,000, you had payroll, and something else, I don't know. It's a little higher than what it was before, but they have some changes they're doing, I believe, so. But you had payroll in there too. The 384 is plus the 100,000 up there that's on other supplies. No, 100,000 was community corrections, 6,000, yeah. The 100,000 is community corrections.
So you think
But I don't, this,
No, but the 284, 382 was community corrections and contractual services. But in other supplies, they had 100,000. So that would be the 384. It's not quite 200, but some, yeah.
have you not seen it at all?
But we bumped it up to 2 million, so.
Okay, so so explain to me again where the 700,000 came from. What does that consist of?
It's for the dual diagnosis, and I believe they're planning on expanding on the program. What specifically, I don't know.
Okay, supplement to community correction, we're adding that line in this
Yes,
to be 700,000, and it's for dual diagnosis.
correct. It's
All
for
of it.
basically court services and dual diagnosis that they're performing for the court.
And we didn't transfer anything in from, for equipment new from someplace
No, you zeroed it
in correctional.
in
yeah.
both. You zeroed it out in both of them.
Oh, that's right, okay. Sorry.
Well, at least that was my understanding.
Yes, you're right. You're right, yes, you're right, I'm sorry,
And you also zeroed out locks, video, and audio.
yes.
Okay.
So the only thing left in is care of patients' income, 400,000, and 400,000 electricity, and 700,000 supplemental community correction.
And then whatever supplement to drug court was in there as well. So I don't know, that kind of gets you to where you're at, and then you, once you have a discussion about drug court, we can come circle back around.
That makes sense.
Kind of.
I was looking at the one that I had, basically they have case manager, social worker, all of that goes along with that. They have nurse practitioner, psychologist, and then supplies, which is food, emergency, medical, hygiene, clothing, transportation, and office supplies. That is all supposed to help cover the operations of that program. For the dual diagnosis. This is a separate program that, he came in with the courts, and this, maybe the year before that even, that it was to help alleviate population in the jail. So they run them through a different program to determine if maybe there's more, it's, a lot of times they just want to tag them with one thing, say that's your problem. Well, that's not really the whole problem, so then they're looking at it and getting different diagnoses to determine if there's better treatment, better meds they can use to keep them out of trouble. Is any of this ringing a bell with, okay. Yeah, so they're trying to basically get them out of jail, get them treatment, so they stay out of jail, and they're not returning. It's a very, it's a lot more aggressive than what they're getting through other services. And they seem to have a pretty good number raised. I think they're running.
I haven't heard anything for a while.
Yeah. I've heard numbers, but I don't remember what they were. I mean,
It's been a while since I've
Yeah,
heard from
maybe
Bill.
we could ask. I've heard it's not well.
yeah, I don't
I
have
think
numbers.
COVID playing a big part in it until recently, even they were able to expand it back up again.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do we need to? This is something we've already.
We
this is
never
something we've already-
finalized.
We never finalized.
No, we never
motion
finalized it, so we still need to come back to it, but that was
Because of
also,
drug court, okay.
yes. And this is also
Do we
one,
need Bill to come in?
pardon me?
Might not be a bad idea to have Bill come in, or do we need that? I think?
I can check with him, see what's works.
You might.
Just,
We'll
I mean,
look
that's
at,
a
we'll
big
look at some
spend.
of our meetings and what we have scheduled, and then we can see what I can work out. really at this point, it's about shifting and moving, you know. We still have to finalize public safety, we still have to finalize, I don't think we finalized that.
Is this
We've
where,
not,
is this where last year we had everything projected and Cheryl shifted numbers and?
it, kind of, but we still have to get our, we need to make a determination on payroll. So we need to look through the list of requested employees to determine if you're going to fund those positions. We need to then see if I can get some information from Baker Tilly. I mean, my concern at this point is I don't know if we'll have numbers in time. I mean, I don't even know if we'll have by September 13th, let alone before that to get it calculated. So we may need to plan on a course of action on how you want to address that. You'll still want to appropriate because you need, but you're not gonna know exactly what to appropriate. It's an estimation.
Can't believe you can do the budget with that.
I mean, we can hope we keep going, but I think if we could come back, although we can't really finalize a lot of these till you have payroll.
The rest of these are,
Yeah, I mean, it's whether or not you wanna shift or reimburse the general fund or do, you know, kind of relieve the burden a little bit. But payroll's gonna be your driving force, because like I can look at, the general fund right now and all the changes that's been made in the general fund, and it's only $10 million is what's been approved. And we advertised 52 million. So,
But that includes the 10% across the
it's
board
all
on
payroll, it's new positions, health insurance, benefits, so.
I'm personally, I don't know if we wanna discuss that right. Payroll, anything about it right now? I just am gun shy about making any changes until we know what Baker Tilly, cause I think there's a possibility we'll get bitten if we don't guess the right amount.
And maybe that's a discussion the full council can have tomorrow at the first reading. You can get some
I mean,
feedback
can we
from them.
pass it in chunks like that? The budget? I mean, I know the first reading, but,
Well, no, I mean, just to have a discussion.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have the first reading, you're gonna have an opportunity for discussion, but this could be something, maybe you can get some feedback or thought or opinions from the other council members. You're in open meeting, you can have the discussion, and maybe you'll get some direction on what would be the best way to go.
And
And then that way it's not
Possible.
all laying at the three of your feet, and then we get to the council meeting, it's like, ooh, I don't wanna do that. And that's
well, then there's
75% of your budget.
You could get some slight possibility that you'd have more information from Baker Tilly tomorrow too.
Possibly.
Like,
really
slight
slight.
possibility. A bitty possibility, but I won't hold my breath.
But that would help drive a lot. So that's really kind of where you're at. I mean, it's numbers that we need for that. And then that'll determine what you need to do with the rest of it.
so, other than like dealing with payroll and stuff, really the last one we just have hanging over our head is the drug court.
Yes.
Is that one of the big ones?
Mhm.
We did approve
I thought we
highway?
did highway. Did we not? 2s, 3s, and 4s as requested, except for shop and field tools, should be $5,000.
I thought we did.
And that's made a motion by Brenda, second by Marie, all aye. Cause that was,
That was highway? I mean,
yeah,
did
I
we
mean,
do
just the
edit?
2s, 3s, and 4s, we haven't done. Yeah, I didn't mark that, I didn't write that down. I did on some, I'm hit and miss on that. We did
Yeah, have
local
we
road
done
and
it?
street on, I would say we did local road and street on July 12th. Oh, okay. That was 714? Okay, thank you.
That's a big one.
Yeah,
Did we do edit?
we haven't finalized that. I don't, let me look at it, see if there was, I don't know if we were looking to see if there's something that you want to shift or change, but I don't
Oh,
have.
and we haven't done parks, have we?
Yeah, I thought we did parks.
I think that's a comeback.
Parks is?
I thought so.
Parks?
Parks did, I thought we did parks. Yep.
Did?
Well, we had multiple sheets on that one too.
Yeah, we did. It was-
That's what I was thinking.
May come back, and that was because of
What was it?
equipment maybe or something, I don't know.
What did we end up cutting? Cause I was thinking we still had to do that one. Let me find it.
Parks, what do you end up?
Is that in the, is that all in
What
general?
I have,
Well, no.
Some of it.
Yeah, there's a non-reverting or something, I mean, something part.
I don't, you cut equipment from 100,000 to 65,000. Make sure I'm looking for it all.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
Yes, that's it. But that was in, yeah,
I was just trying to think of the list of projects. Cause I thought we were still coming back to that, cause I was gonna get.
I've got the, yeah, so. Yeah, so you did, I've got all of the parts done except for the, payroll part.
Payroll.
Yeah, can you get me?
The Coon Cap development, we've
Yeah,
not
we haven't seen
finalized,
it, 23rd.
we've not finalized, public safety correctional rehab. Not finalized PSAP because it has payroll. Supplemental adult probation POC, they have payroll, it's like payroll loan. Proposed health maintenance, health donation. I don't think they requested anything for health I think it's a 0 this year. Health maintenance, so. I mean, really, there's not,
I
it's
need
the
to look
payroll,
part
except for,
Sure.
like,
text.
even on sheriff's sale, there's nothing done because it's all payroll. So at this point, you're really driving forces people. So if we get payroll and then determine if we need to do any more shifts, then I think we can pretty much wrap it up.
We need to decide.
And then make sure that we're within the limits that you wanna be,
Yeah.
which that might be a little scary.
What is good for this to date?
So your options are, you can either set a day now, or you can adjourn the meeting, and then when you set a new date, we have to publish it for at least 48 hours prior to the meeting.
Rather than reset.
Well, I'm just, in order to recess, you have to know what date you come back. So whichever works for you guys.
Right, well, I
If you
can-
know what date you're gonna come back, then.
Why did we not get numbers? So I don't know, it may be better,
I saw that, I heard that already, Cheryl, that that was being withdrawn. ARPA request is being withdrawn.
The ARP request from the commissioners,
Both of them?
both of them?
It says the ARPA request, and to me, that means both, but
Doesn't email them.
yeah, I'd gotten a message about it, and then Cheryl basically confirmed it with her email that she forwarded from the commissioners.
You want me to look
this
at
one,
the calendar?
yeah, this one may be up to you. You start
Yes.
I start with tomorrow, so, yeah. But, I mean, I could take half days, you know, here or there, and I could try to work. I mean, the fastest I could be here is 3:30. Try to push it to 3 if I had someone help cover, a couple times, but 3:30 is like the fastest. But I could take a half day here and there.
So what, we're waiting on information from Baker Tilly and a couple of conversations. Do we need to have a conversation? Do we need to bring Bill Watson in on?
I can either get information from him or ask him to write something up, or if you're gonna meet, I can see about if he can come in, if it fits his schedule when you're meeting. I don't, since it's, chances are it's in the evening.
something right.
If he could email something to you and then you could forward it to us, that might,
Mhm.
and then we could have it maybe before we meet again.
And that way you could finalize that budget and finish that up.
And then, other than that, does Baker Tilly and the other?
I mean, the payroll's huge. I mean, it's huge.
Headache too.
So if we were going to schedule one, what do you think is a safe date?
How far out?
How far out do you think we gotta wait? Because we're essentially just waiting on when Bill can up and back. Friday? Next week?
I would hope that I have an answer or some direction from Baker Tilly, because it's on my list of a conversation with them. And I'm hoping that tomorrow I can get a hold of them and get something, but I can't guarantee an answer by then. But at least if you, which we can't meet tomorrow, I don't know if you wanna meet the latter part of the week, or if you wanna say, let's come back on Monday.
I would, I mean,
I mean, or
personally,
a different day, I mean.
yeah, for personally, the 11th's my first day with students.
That's not good for you.
And
Oh,
then
that'd be
the
good.
12th, I mean, it's just my second day, so
And the 12th's a Friday, nobody wants to meet on a Friday evening.
so I'd feel a little bit better prepared if, you know, I'd at least get through the first week.
Like next Monday?
Yeah, I mean, the
15th.
15th would work.
15th and that time?
Let me check and see if it,
And you're
15th
thinking
work for
like
you guys?
3:30?
I mean, I could, if I rush, but I mean, if
Monday.
I take a half day, I could be here by, I mean, that's kind of, because if I take a half day, I mean, I could be here by like 12. But if not, I mean, the earliest I could be here is like,
I think if we shot somewhere between 3 and 3:30, that would be a little bit easier for you too. You're not taking half a
That way you
day.
don't have to take it.
Yeah.
Because you may have to take a half a day
3:30.
somewhere between September, now and
Yeah.
September 13th. Let's kind of.
I'm sorry. Oh, is it on Monday?
Okay, well then,
We could do it
Let's
Tuesday.
do it Tuesday.
I could do it
at 3
Tuesday.
o'clock,
how
or
about
3:30.
Tuesday at 3:30?
That work better? Do it Tuesday.
Tuesday,
Why don't we do it while we do the budget?
yeah, we could do a workout with you.
Yeah.
Does that work for you?
Can you,
Tuesday at 3:30?
I don't,
16th, correct?
that would require a lot of focus. So the 16th at 3:30?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Everyone?
Then I'll get some answers to bring back, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I don't even have kids to transport because they're all playing soccer.
All right. Anything else? All right, we will recess till Tuesday, the 16th,